I held my earbuds up to my microphone. I wonder what that will sound like.
Choice.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the intro of the Rabbithole podcast number 18, because we didn't do one for 17. Watch this, listen to this
Oh yeah, we're
podcast.
not food for thought anymore.
Nope.
I
thought for a second I was like, is that what I said? Did I go back to that somehow?
No, I said that last episode.
Oh, and I didn't even realize, I guess.
I was hoping you would catch it because I thought it was funny.
I didn't dawn on me at all.
Well, it'll be funny when you hear it now.
Okay. All right. Fuck. But yeah. So I guess we'll continue our talk about music.
Yeah, I have a notepad in my bed here somewhere. I'll find it later.
I took notes for the first week when I thought we were going to podcast, and then we just both ignored each other like a couple antisocial fucks.
Well, I needed to skip. I had a personal tragedy and I needed to skip. And then we had D&D confusion for a few weeks. And then, then the ignoring people.
And it just keeps happening. I wonder if we'll do it next week.
Well, it was weird because it was like, we're going to do it. And then we're not going to do it this week. There's D&D. And then it came up like, we're going to do it this week. And they're like, nope, there's D&D. And they're like, all right. And then there was, I don't know, D&D chopped up a few weeks of that. With the
Even though we only did it once, though, that was the thing.
We've done it twice.
I feel like we've only done it once since we last podcasted. I don't know, maybe it was twice. It's weird because, like, they keep changing it, and it gets everything off by a week. Because the original plan was podcast 1 week, D&D the next week, and then we just do that back and forth. But then D&D keeps changing, and it's like, well, I procrastinated and didn't write anything, so...
Yeah, John and Audrey are not fucking reliable. And if Audrey wants to go see somebody somewhere else, it's canceled. Or if she has a headache, it's canceled. And then John's a DM. John has definitely not been planning a campaign. He's got a new job. It requires him to actually get out of bed and go do shit every day. Or at least be there for Zoom calls. On top of that, he bought a welder. And he's been modifying his Jeep, so he's got evening projects. It's the same thing anytime that we start a roleplay campaign with those people. They're inconsistent, like us. But it's our turn to shit on them.
Ha ha!
I'm sorry, I shouldn't drag you into this. You're more consistent than me and John. But fuck John.
Okay.
John, if you're listening to this, love you, whatever, but...
Yeah. I have been working slowly but surely on my campaign that I want to be like a 10-episode series.
Yeah, okay, sure.
But, you know, I've also been focused on getting these fucking Pixar videos done.
That's a big fucking task.
It is, and I want to have everything set up perfectly so I can come out the gate with everything properly set up to have the highest chance of making it worth something.
I have been binge drinking, isolating, and gaming, and chain smoking.
So it goes. It's all good. But the D&D campaign thing, I have so many fucking totally awesome ideas that I can't wait to actually get into. And it'll be nice and simple. It has an end point. It's going to be like 10 episodes long. We're going to shoot them in like batches.
What are you going to do if I blow up your railroad?
What do you mean?
Like, you have a story in mind, which is a railroad. What are you going to do with me as a player? I blow up your story and kill it in the first 10 minutes.
I don't think that'll be an issue.
Okay.
Because, like, legitimately, I have this set up so it is kind of like in a... It's like, it's set to be a specific length, essentially. And there's going to be like some rule changes, like different stuff that I've kind of figured out and played with that I think will be really fucking cool. And it's definitely going to be more based on making an interesting story than the fucking mechanics of the thing. Because nothing makes me more annoyed than whenever we're playing D&D and we have a couple of those people that are like, yes, but what about this? And it's like, oh, let's look up all the rules on that and all this shit. It just slows everything down and makes it less fun.
Yeah, see, Nate and Audrey thought that they were going to have a story-driven campaign where Audrey's character was kind of the main character, but she was supposed to be the DM, and her character's kind of a played NPC. And me and John full-on got that game canceled trying to get off the fucking railroad. About to start a fight. We actually had to start a forest fire. Audrey was so fucking mad she lost her shit.
Yeah, that sounds super annoying.
Yeah, I mean, not me and John necessarily. Their railroad DMing was annoying, but you just tell us up front about that. There's a goal to this thing, and there's a premise, and bring your character. Then that's different.
Oh yeah, like I'm not like I want the story to be built around your guys' characters. That's your whole setup. Is you guys come up with your characters. The only thing that I really want as far as backstory necessarily for each person to know, unless you expressly want to tell everybody your shit. You know, the only thing I want everybody to talk about is what they were doing the night before you show up at this situation. That's just kind of the huge setup right there. And it's almost like you guys can play it different ways. Like, number one, none of you guys are going to know each other as characters. And then beyond that, you can tell each other everything you want to know, or you can hide shit, because I might set up some scenarios that dance a little Survivor-y. You know, shit where people might have to go against each other.
Okay, with the exception of the Survivor element, that's a normal campaign, though.
I mean, like the TV show Survivor.
Yeah, like I said, with the exception of Survivor, the other stuff you've described is just like a normal D&D campaign.
Oh yeah, because I don't want to tell you like a lot of the situation, because there's so many game mechanics that I've come up with, and just different weird little rules that I'm setting up, and different kinds of like.
Are you talking about
just all kinds of different
changing
stuff.
the book rules, or are you talking about like philosophies?
Not so much changing the book rules. Like, all right, so the characters and stuff I plan on being based off of like 5e stuff. You know, set it up kind of simple like that. But a lot of the mechanics are going to be slightly differently, like slightly different to simplify things, I guess. It's not going to be so, because like I said, the whole setup of the rules of being like, all right, let's break down what grappling means and what can overcome grappling, and you know, all this different that kind of shit. Because like on one hand, I'm gonna keep a lot of that, of course, because that's what keeps the game challenging, I guess.
It's the game engine, makes it move.
Exactly. But you know, I'm just going to simplify a lot of things, and I've created a lot of different game mechanics for different scenarios that I've come up with lots of ways to get out of situations and lots of ways to defeat certain situations. Like, it's pretty fucking crazy. I'm really proud of it. I just need to get it all hammered out, but I want to get this Pixar shit finished first.
And then we can start getting clips of us talking to each other in outdated time frames.
Oh yeah, dude, it's pretty fucking hilarious. We're sitting here talking like, I just like mentioned Toy Story 4 is gonna come out, and you're like, Toy Story 4? Are they really doing that? And we reference that shit a lot throughout this whole thing, like stuff that, like, it's 2018. It's the summer of 2018 when we start filming, or no, I guess it's September of 2018 when we started filming it.
Well, that's not true, because I clearly told the audience it was May 2015.
Oh, no, you said it was April 2016, actually. And that was funny, because I put that in there at the beginning of the video. Like, I do, like, an establishing shot, Family Guy style, like a house and all that. And I put the date, like, present day or whatever. And then you said it was April, so I run the screen again, and I put, like, April 2016. And just really fuck with the whole thing. Up to the point where I'm like, okay, it's September 2018. It's pretty nuts.
I didn't think it would get that much production value when we were doing it.
Yeah, that's why it's taking so long, because legitimately I'm coming up with jokes. A lot of this stuff I actually have to hand draw. A bunch of the characters and stuff like are already created, so that's easier, but it still takes so long to keyframe all like the eyes and stuff, because I want us blinking, looking around, our mouths are moving and stuff, you know. So that's why it's taking so long.
I mean, nobody's waiting on it, but everybody wants to see it.
Yeah, I want to see it done, man.
Me too. I also want to finish Cooties. I really do.
Finish what?
Cooties. That thing we were doing?
Oh, yes, Cooties. I thought you said Doogies. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I just want to do some kind of creative project. I don't really care if it's Cooties that much. I did like it, though.
I want to finish it. And I feel like putting it out there, like, I really like what we have. But I feel like putting it out publicly is, like, making me want to finish it even more.
Yeah, I want to do episodes. I really liked the whole, like, episodic adventure of finishing a script. And then shit got really, really, really weird around here.
Yeah. I really want to figure out the best possible way for us to fucking do this. And I feel like the best possible way for us to do like a writing podcast would be to be in the same room.
Maybe.
Because I think the energy there is just better, and have us actually sit there and write and talk about it.
Now, the first time I said I didn't have any pages, you said you had something. Did you wind up ever having anything?
Whenever we were talking about D&D?
Maybe.
Or at D&D? We were
definitely at D&D.
Yeah. Yes, I have a bit. I didn't write as much as I wanted to, but I have a bit.
I could put something together. I've reached the point in all of the games that I have beaten recently where I just like I don't know what to play, which is why I started doing Infamous. It's getting harder and harder to procrastinate because I've accomplished many of the goals.
Yeah, I am currently forcing myself to stop wasting the time that I have been wasting, because like I do end up weirdly, like I looked at my screen time on my phone, and it's like an average of like 5 hours a day. And I'm like, how the fuck do I do this? How do I pull phone? 5 hours? Yeah.
That's so crazy because I missed your last 3 sentences by looking at my phone.
Oh, yeah. My average is like 5 hours, but I mean, in the morning, like when I'm brushing my teeth and getting my shit ready for work, I'll be playing something on my phone. So I guess that would count towards that. And then like at lunch, I'm watching something on my phone. Yeah. But beyond that, it's like, how do I get 5 fucking hours out of this? Like, that's crazy.
Does it delineate between times that you're actually using your phone to do something?
What do you mean?
Well, like if
it's just when the screen is on.
Oh, okay. Because well, you got to make sure that you have all the shit. Like, I have a Google phone, so before I turned off every bell and whistle on this fucking thing, it would turn on when anytime I touched the sides. It would turn on anytime I picked it up. It would turn on if I touched the fingerprint reader on the back. It would turn on if it shook because it thought I was picking it up. The screen was basically on 24/7. Then I inherited it from John, so it just had a clock running on the front the whole time. I turned everything off. I also finally turned off all of the notifications. Because it used to be like, it would give me, like, I don't have any news apps on my phone anymore. I just go to the website if I want to. But it was still giving me local articles for everything. And if I swiped one to get it off my screen, it would give me 5 fucking more. It's like Google was
Yeah, that shit
competitively
is
shutting
so
that shit.
annoying.
Yeah, and I wanted Facebook notifications, and I kind of wanted, I wanted Facebook and email notifications, and I wanted to know if somebody had responded to a YouTube comment, because that's crack to me. But yeah, I just didn't want all the other stuff, and I was just like, fuck it, no more notifications. If I want to know if I have a notification, I'll go fucking check it.
Yeah, I don't like the news app shit drives me nuts because I'm like, I legit don't want to see this. Reddit was like, I had to dig my way through Reddit to figure out how to turn off the shit for that because it just kept recommending goddamn political and news bullshit to me
YouTube.
Constantly. And
That's
I'm like,
one thing.
I'm not following any of these fucking subreddits.
Yeah, YouTube was the heartbreaker for me. That's one of the ones that I was just like, I want notifications on some YouTube videos. I want to know when some people post some stuff. But I turned that off too.
Yeah, I don't hit the notification bell for anyone.
Well, I didn't have to. Google would just tell me. It's part of the phone wanting you to pick up the fucking phone. Like, if I have no bells on anybody, it'll still be like, so-and-so posted a video, or, hey, we recommend this video based on your activity. Now, the Google phone is the most cancerous phone I've ever experienced from that. LG did it a little bit, but Google, if you don't turn absolutely every fucking thing off, Google will give you... Like, I one time didn't touch my phone for a day, and then, like, just looked at my push notifications, and for real, I had to swipe up, like, 7 times to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I have so many fucking notifications on my phone right now. Got Pokemon Go. I got two different Instagram ones.
Nope,
I got
don't need that.
some other random game. Oh, I have 3 Instagram ones.
You don't need a single one from games. I have 3 on my phone right now, and I don't know why they're activated. Oh, sorry, I swiped them away.
The Instagram ones piss me off because it's like, hey, maybe you'll like to follow this person. No, or I would be following that person. Because it's not like it's anybody new.
I had a notification from Burger King, which I don't know why I had the Burger King app. That's some fat person shit.
I didn't know they had an app. I know Chick-fil-A had one, but that's funny.
I have a Chick-fil-A app. Well, at some point I had money in the bank so I could order stuff with my debit card, and I get really anxious if the person at the cashier asks what I want before I've read the menu if I don't know what I want, which usually I know what I want. So it used to be that, like, I'll Google the menu, but then I'm like, what if they don't have the thing that Google is showing anymore? They're out. So I'm like, you know what? They're kind of beholden to it. If I pay online, they have to figure it out, which is not true. I went to Burger King and they actually didn't have what I ordered, and they told me to contact the manager in the morning. I wound up leaving there pretty pissed off.
That is so fucking stupid.
Yeah, what else? They said we're not responsible for the app. And I was like, then why fucking have it?
Yeah. That shit's driving me nuts, man. Like, I don't use any of those apps or anything because I always order the same exact thing. Like, in most places, like maybe between 1 or 2 things because I know what I'm going for. But, like, that shit, like, if you have a fucking app for your service and it doesn't work properly, you're fucking useless. It's 2020. Everything is apps. Deal with it.
Yeah, but locations are usually franchises and not legitimate parts of the chain.
Well, they need to figure that out then, because that is a big issue.
It really is. I'm gonna delete it. I'm actually gonna delete all the fast food apps right now. The Chick-fil-A is so fast, there's no point in ordering ahead. But they give away free shit, is the reason to have the Chick-fil-A app.
Hell yeah.
They so good. What about music again?
I've listened to some stuff, I guess. I've been... Let's see. I've actually been listening to a lot of female-fronted bands recently, which is kind of weird.
Oh, did you listen to Pussy Riot? Or sorry, Bannekin Pussy?
No. I remember you talking about it. I forgot it existed.
That's okay.
I will write it down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're okay.
I like their name.
Mannequin Pussy.
It's funny.
Yeah, I remember Patience. I listened to that a few times, but they have a better record. I listened to Trashed, but I can't remember what the fuck it was because I was trashed.
Huh. Okay.
I guess they're cool. I'm trying to like not get your hopes up, but they're okay. They're pretty.
Okay. Now maybe my hopes will be lowered. There's this lovely band called Starkill that is a surprisingly small band. I was kind of surprised by that because their production quality is like great. They're like a fusion of power metal and like kind of symphonic death metal, I guess. But they're really good. Like, I heard one of their songs back in like 2012 on some free CD that I got from like FYE or something, where it was like a mix of like a certain production company's thing. I don't know. Like, just different samples of different music that they had. And Starkill was one of them. And then their shit's changed a lot. And they added the female vocalist. And so it's really heavy and symphonic and just super dope. And I love it. More people should listen to it.
Now, does it have synth or is it symphonic like a symphony?
It has synth.
I do love me some synth. And I've
Yeah.
been fond of female vocalists lately. I used to hate them.
I used to not be the biggest fan because it always just felt... I mean,
Forced.
mostly female vocalists don't really... I don't know. The genres of music that I listen to don't have a lot of female vocalists.
Well, it used to be like the girl rock was a girl rock thing. And there were some exceptions, of course. No
Yeah.
Doubt had their hits and Gwen Stefani killed it. But, I didn't like love their music. And then there's
Yeah.
some that I don't find interesting that I kind of like the Warriors, and that's not people who do war, that's people who worry. They're like a melodic pop punk band, but the singer is kind of drab sounding and dull, and the melodic pop punk element is very like predictable feeling, so it's kind of, I don't know where I'm going with that.
All right. Yeah, it's I used to like my mom was a huge No Doubt fan, so we used to hear it a lot, and like it was fine. Thinking back, it makes me feel like I wouldn't go back and listen to it. Like it's another one where it feels like slightly cringy to me.
Yeah, I thought that too until I heard Don't Speak Again, and I was like, you know what? I see why this fucking destroyed when it came out. This is only this only is kind of funny because of its age for me. But it was kind of like hearing I Need a Hero again, and you're like, holy shit. Or like if you hear Total Eclipse of the Heart for the first time without hearing it in a few years, you're like, oh fuck, this actually slapped. This is kind of sick.
I still think that one slaps, bro. That's just a great song.
I fucking love that. I love Bonnie Tyler so much.
I love that song for sure.
Yeah, like Total Eclipse of the Heart and I Need a Hero are both Bonnie Tyler.
Okay, I love both of those songs for sure.
I know more Bonnie Tyler
I don't know
songs,
if I've
but I
heard
don't feel
much
like
more.
flexing. Well, you should hear some Bonnie Tyler. She's pretty good. I would avoid the heartstrings because it's Bonnie Tyler, but it's a Bonnie Tyler record that is all covers and all orchestrated by a string section. So it's not real Bonnie Tyler. There's no synth. There's no 80s charm behind it. It's just kind of like her dope singing.
80s charm, what's that?
Some Some synth, some hair guitar where it's not belong, some kind of like confusion of what instrument to use when you don't have a prescribed genre. Like they're not new wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I
There's some
didn't
hair.
like about the '80s like music style was the drums, like the super over
drum
processed
machines?
drums. Yes. Or the drums that had like these crazy fucking triggers on them, where they just sound like. It's
It
like,
depends what you're listening
Jesus.
to. I mean, if you're
Well, I'm-
listening to Peter Schilling or some like real like new wave or like Tears for Fears, they didn't have a real genre.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, if it was meant to have a drum machine and they had a crazy drum sound, that's okay. I feel like. Dependent. There's some
That's
shitty
the one
ass
thing that I
samples.
think about of '80s music that I just didn't like,
No drum machines at all. It's got to be real drums.
or just slightly more subtle, less like annoying sounding drums. Because it's like the same thing with Saint Anger. It's not like the same thing because it's not like a dumb fucking trigger like over processed thing, but it's still like a drum that stands out too fucking much.
Yeah, that's fair. Nowadays we just use the 808 because 90s hip hop solidified it. So, but we,
And the
we
808
expect
is
that
great.
sound. Yeah, we love the 808. It's dope.
It's just like
Thank you,
adds that
Dr.
extra
Dre.
punch. Hell yeah. Yeah.
So
So
you've
then
been
there's
listening to not Starfucker, Starkill?
Starkill, yes. They're surprisingly good. I don't like the way that I explained them because power metal. Anytime someone says power metal, it turns me off immediately. Like, I'm not against all power metal, but like it just like a sound comes to mind.
Yeah, it
And it's
only
like,
gives you two
I don't-
vibes. Something
Why?
vaguely Germanic and something that is Dragon Force.
Yeah. This leans like if I had to pick one, it leans a little more Dragon Force style just because of the synth and shit. But it's better than Dragon Force. Dragon Force has two songs that people can actually consider good and want to listen to them, and I want to listen to them rarely ever.
Yeah, I don't really, no. Unless someone's doing a Guitar Hero video, I don't really listen to them.
Exactly.
But to the next band.
Next band is a band that. Alright, so there was this band back in like 2005, and they did a song for a movie called Feast. And I don't even remember what the name of the song is called, but the band is called the Vincent Black Shadow. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Nope.
It's a female-fronted band, and they did, like I said, the song for the movie Feast. And that's whenever they kind of... It's weird, because they were almost kind of like a one-hit wonder, because you didn't hear a lot. They did a few music videos for other shit.
Like
But
the band
this-
that did the Powerpuff Girl theme.
Who did the Powerpuff Girl theme?
I do know who that is. God damn it, I shouldn't have brought it up. Continue with your thing.
Makes me think of like Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi.
No, it's it's like a British punk band.
Okay. The Vincent Black Shadow, Fear in the Water is the name of the album, and it is pretty freaking excellent. It actually has kind of a Gwen Stefani-esque, like, vocalist. But their stuff is like, they have like, every song is very interesting. Like, they don't sound like necessarily the same, but they have like the same vibe. It's kind of like eerie-esque, but it also, it lands in a weird area of like punk ska and also sometimes hard rock.
Oh, they're Scottish punk. They're Biz, B-I-S.
Huh. Interesting. But this specific album by the Vincent Black Shadow, I recommend. I think you might like it, Jeff. I think it might tickle your fancy a bit.
The Vincent Black Shadow, what was the name of the record?
Fear in the Water. And it's got a picture of a bathtub with either blood or black water, and yeah.
Okay, then I will counter female recommend you.
Oh.
No, I don't want to do that shit. 'Cause I don't like to hear that people don't like stuff that I don't think is that great, but I still kind of like. I'm sorry, did you say Vincent in the Blackwater?
Vincent Black Shadow.
Vincent Black Shadow, Fear in the Water.
Yes.
I liked the singing on Painted Shut by Hop Along, but I don't know if I'd recommend them for everybody.
Where do you find your music, Jeff? Everything's so like...
At that time...
I've never heard this ever before in my life.
At that time, it was Anthony Fantano.
I feel like I might need to check out some of his stuff. I've seen him on other stuff, and like I like him as a dude, but I've never watched his stuff.
He runs the Needle Drop, and he used to run a channel called This Is the Plan, which was just a god tier shit posting channel. Some of the craziest YouTube videos that were not disgusting, but were just like, this humor only belongs to one fucking individual. And it also had Cal Chesta's records on it, and in one of the demonetization Armageddons, whatever, we used to have a really clever name for those. When one of those happened, he was like, not a single video on this channel is monetized. It has like 500,000 subs. Every single sub watches. I'm not making a penny off of it. And that would be fine. I do not shitpost for money. This is just for me. What bothers me is that YouTube is getting 100,000 views every post off of this, and it's advertising for YouTube, and they won't monetize it. But they're clearly making money because I'm bringing people to the platform. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this entirely successful channel that has nothing to do with my music reviews. So all of that content is gone.
Wow. All right.
Anyway, yeah, you should check out the Needle Drop. It's you can filter it by rock reviews. You don't have to listen to all the other reviews, but he's got interesting, nuanced opinions, and he makes decent recommendations.
All right. Yeah, because like there's just like a lot less music stuff that I've found of people like talking about records and shit that I might find interesting. Like This Exists was an amazing fucking channel. I loved that channel, and then the dude just stopped uploading.
There's not a lot of good music or movie reviewers in the entire planet. There's Roger and Ebert, and then there's us. And then those are like the two tiers of people you can be. Just people.
Which one are we?
Well, we're not Roger and Ebert.
Damn it.
I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I mean we're better than a lot, but like there is just that kind of paradox between like here's somebody who knows things about storytelling and craft and movie history and experience. They've really sampled all this shit and they know their stuff and their examples are good and their thoughts are clear. And then there's other people that are the majority of YouTube reviewers who just like, I liked this. I liked this. The thing, it was good. I liked, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And
it kind of sits. It kind of sits in that area of like reaction videos.
That's a good
like
point.
there are some of them that like, you know, I tend to watch reaction videos every now and then, and there are some of them that are like really fucking insightful, like make you think about something that you didn't think about before. And then there's the majority of them that are like, oh, reaction videos make money?
They're
cool.
freebooting.
This was a thing. Bye. And it's like, I fucking hate it whenever it's that.
Yeah, the gap is
there's
big.
a lot of... Go ahead.
I said the gap is big. That was the whole point.
Yeah. Because there's some excellent, like, YouTubers out there that do, like, video essays on movies and shit, and their production value is, like, great. Their writing is excellent. They make excellent points, and I fucking love those. But then there are those dumbass movie reviewers out there that have, like, literally nothing to say.
Yeah, who's
like,
that
bring
fucking Tucker
nothing
asshole? Whatever the fuck, Movies with Tucker, whatever.
I've never heard of them.
Fuck you if you're listening. Fucking come at me, fucking bitch.
There's a few of them that just drive me nuts. Like there's Ralph the Movie Maker. I cannot fucking stand him.
Fuck that guy.
He's a fucking child who is just like the biggest prick in the world about everything, and I'm like, ugh.
Oh, it sounds like my type of dude.
Well, no, because there's one thing, like, your movie sucks. I fucking love. He is harsh as fuck on so many movies, but he's making good points, and he's funny while he's doing it.
Yeah, I have to take a break sometimes. If he's posting too much, I'm like, God, you're making me pessimistic.
Well, I'm just kind of like, why aren't you posting?
He's been posting a little bit. I watched something from him this week while I was taking a shit. He had and he's been posting.
I guess the issue is that he's not posting stuff that I care about. Because he's like Artemis Fowl and then the fucking 13 Reasons Why Season 4. Like, I don't give a shit about that. I think that's the problem.
There was a weird spot where it was like he was posting everything that he heard or was watching at a film festival, and then he stopped altogether, and it was a weird time to keep up with his channel. But yeah, he got recommended a new video or a new movie, and then he did a quick breakdown of it. It's someone said that this dude is I want to say Neil Breen adjacent guy. Anyway. He's had a couple of videos recently again, but he did suck for a little bit.
Yeah, like the last one that I actually watched by him was the Adam and Pals with the Hulk.
Yeah, it was 2 months ago. I'm looking at his channel right now.
Yeah, that was the last one I watched. Because like all this other stuff is like stuff that I haven't seen and just don't give a shit about.
Artemis Fowl was a month ago. You haven't been off of his channel that long.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I watched the Deadly Lessons review. And that was kind of funny.
I did not. And then there's a lot of these where it's like, oh, I want to see this movie, so I don't want to see his review on it yet.
I don't know what
I haven't watched anything new.
I don't know what Kimba the White Lion is, and that means it's probably going to be my favorite video. Because he's done 2.5 hours of making fun of it, and that's what I come to his channel for.
Yeah, I've heard about it before. It's an anime like movie from like the 70s or something that just is the Lion King that Disney just ripped off.
Perfect. Well, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Actually, a YMS on the Hulk would be good. Well, no, it's not the Ed Norton Hulk.
It's the Hulk that's better than the Ed Norton Hulk.
Yeah. Well, I go to these things for Schadenfreude because he's so good at doing that. But I would also like to watch that.
Yeah, he was doing the Pokemon series for a while. He did like 12 episodes, and I fucking loved them. I saved the playlist and everything, and they just stopped doing them.
I didn't even see his Sonic the Hedgehog review. I want to see Sonic. I don't know where to watch it though.
I'm pretty sure you can rent it for like $3, $4, something like that.
So, Fear in the Water by the Vincent Black Shadow. I have it queued up and ready to go.
Neat.
Although I only have one earbud now, so I'll only hear half of it.
Huh. I wonder how much of their stuff is actually split. That's interesting. But I've legitimately been drumming to that. So that's fun.
At the very least, the loudest part of their bass will be in the left earbud. They'll probably mix some. They'll probably mix 30% over to the right earbud, but it's cut. There's no perfectly symmetrical recording records, and most people mix drums from the perspective of the drummer. So I'll be losing some toms.
Yeah, that's true. They're not very tom heavy though, so you might be all right.
I fucking hate the no headphone jack on this phone.
Yeah.
It's fucking bullshit.
I hear ya. I'm glad my phone still has the fucking headphone jack. Like, it's a newer phone, so.
Might just listen to it on my laptop. Fuck it.
There you go. That's cooking with fire.
Yeah.
Next album, out of the female-fronted ones, I can mention Paramore because they have one album that I find most of it decent and not too cringy. So I threw in a little bit of that as well.
Okay.
I don't even remember what the album's called. It's one of their more like mature ones. It was like after the weird pop punky era where they got a little more technical.
Are you talking about Paramore?
Yeah, and wrote a little deeper than the high school pop shit.
I'm not gonna go listen to a Paramore record, Doug. You can skip it.
No, that's fine. I'm just explaining to our audience of ourselves.
Right. If
That's-
I wanted
that's just a
Paramore
passing thing.
recommendation, well, no, that's not true. I say I would ask my sister because she's a huge Paramore fan and thinks that's the only punk rock group. Also thinks it's real punk.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about an album that could be confused with punk.
They became a pop band at some point, and then I don't know what they're doing now.
They've kind of actually become like a lot more like weirdly like soul-esque.
Good.
It's kind of fucking weird.
I think
but-
there was something that happened when we were in our mid 2000s glory, where everybody sounded kind of the same-ish or was trying to be different enough. But now that they've moved on, they can be way fucking different if they want, like the brand new.
Yeah. Like there's I mean, so many bands are just like changing completely at this point. Like one example, which I fucking hate and it drives me nuts, is Bring Me the Horizon. Phew, their new shit is the fucking worst.
Yeah, there's a radio rock that's yeah, there's a white trash element to the Cat audience. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really listen to the Cat anymore, but there's a white trash thing about it.
Yeah. Like Bring Me the Horizon, their new shit is very different than like most shit that I have found anywhere, but it's different in like the worst way. It's like turned into like almost, it's got like a vaporwave quality to it. It's very electronic and very like e-boy, almost rappy, weird, just what the fuck is this pile of garbage?
Well, that's probably because they tried to predict the next thing and then they missed.
I mean, I don't know if they missed though, because people are fucking digging it hard, and I'm like, I don't understand. I hate this shit.
I remember you and Glenn and Becky went to go see a concert, and it was like 1,000 Others or whatever the fuck, but Papa Roach was there, and it was the first time that you described seeing Jacoby Maddox stop the show and pull out a laptop.
Yes. As 2013 with Stone Sour and
1,000 something.
God, I don't even remember their name.
Man, they had a fucking hit that year.
Yeah, well,
I
their
liked
album
it.
was surprisingly good, and people's reaction to them opening for everybody was like surprisingly good. But their
Got
name
lost
was
in
too hard to
time.
remember. Otherwise, that was their fucking name.
Otherwise, 1,000 Otherwise?
No, I don't think 1,000 is there.
Maybe their
Wait.
song.
It was the song, yeah. Apology that talked about something with 1,000. I don't know.
I don't apologize, parentheses, 1,000 pictures by Otherwise.
There you go. That's crazy. I haven't listened to them in forever.
There's no apologies that I'm my own worst enemy.
That's not them. That's lit.
Who the fuck was I watching? I was watching. Never mind. It's too far in the podcast hall. One of the dudes who works on their show has been half-ass teaching himself guitar, and they started roasting his Instagram. And it's like, what's this? What's this? What's this? And it's him doing a terrible job playing guitar and singing "My Own Worst Enemy." And it's not relevant that he's black, but it is on the show because sometimes they like to make racist jabs.
Oh, all right.
But yeah,
Well, that's rude.
I love that dude, Chappelle, not Dave Chappelle, but Chappelle. He's a great guy. He's funny as fuck. I like seeing him go into lit like that. He was super into it. It's fun.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
You don't have to. I'm talking to myself. Anyway.
Okay.
My earbud's going out, so we gotta get through these musics.
Oh,
Oh, if the earbud goes out, I'll just hold my phone to my head.
Oh, there you go. That's magical.
Yeah, they still do that.
Next thing is Decomposer by The Matches. I feel like I may have recommended this to you before because I got like super into it a couple of years ago.
I saw Matchstick Man.
Great movie.
Yep.
But Decomposer by The Matches is another album that I love it so much. It came out in 2006 as well. That's interesting. Good year for music for me right now, I guess. 15 years ago.
Yep. When you were becoming a man.
Yep. But this band is a punk band from back then. But of course, this was the era where emo was starting to break in. But this album is very interesting because it's like very different from kind of what was going on. It leans really punk and then just really fucking weird because they added a lot of different, like, there's some different instruments and just different weird styles mixed in. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. For
like
anybody
Glass
listening,
Beach?
just look up The Matches. I listen to like Little Maggots or Salty Eyes or just shit like Lazier Than the Furniture. You know, fun stuff.
They sound cool.
Yeah. I actually think you'd be into them.
I've already got one album queued up, dude, so I'm not going to be able to do anything
All right.
else. I'm not
That's
gonna,
fine. I'll recommend it next time we podcast.
I mean,
Then
unless you
can do
send
that
me a
one.
list, I'm not going to remember. It's not going to be a thing.
Okay.
I can
Then-
probably remember the matches.
Well, there you go.
I do have a
I-
notepad right here.
And then I guess the last one I'll mention here is the newest album by Crown the Empire, Sudden Sky. Crown the Empire, I really liked their first two albums, and then their third one came out, and they basically just kind of transitioned into pop, and I was like, why you gotta do this to me?
Yeah, and you definitely want your skies to be notified well in advance.
Exactly. It's like all these dope metalcore bands that have really cool fucking style and really cool vibe and shit just decided, all right, it's time to be pop now. And I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? There's still metal fans out there, god damn it. But then they did this album. It's still pretty poppy, but they added a lot more of the harder edge back into it, which I dig.
I got the shit scared out of me because my earbud died and it went straight to my other ear. I had my phone on my left ear waiting for my right earbud to die. Scared the shit out of me because you got loud all of a sudden.
I thought I heard myself echoing.
Let's see if I can... Wait, how would you hear yourself echoing? Are you on speaker?
I don't know.
No, that's not possible. Are you on speaker?
No.
Phone. Show me the screen. There we go. Oh, you are on speaker. Wait, are you on speaker?
No?
Now you are. Now you're not. God,
Oh, on
technology
your
is
end.
hard.
It's all good.
Yeah, I kept wondering why you were so sure. It's just like, bitch, how do you know you're not here?
Because I can hear things.
You can hear yourself echo in the right environment if someone's got it on speaker. I work at the call center, and sometimes I hear... Normally their noise can't... You know what? That's not interesting. So, Crown the Royal, or whatever?
Crown the Empire.
Crown the Empire.
Yep. But yeah, I guess that's all the music I have. I have a whole bunch I could list forever, but I'm not gonna, because it's not that interesting.
I have basically only been listening to podcasts while I play video games. Because I can't listen to music while I play video games. I'm already listening to the video game music, so one earbud in. I've been listening to a lot of Two Bears, One Cave, which is Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, and they're fucking hilarious together.
Okay, I listened to a couple episodes of the Your Mom's House podcast.
Yeah,
So I listened to a couple of those.
Tom Segura is great. I love Tom.
Yeah, I found that I enjoy his stuff quite a lot. My thing is, like, as far as podcasts go, I've legitimately had to step away from, like, H3, and, like, anything talking about current events. Because, like, it's literally just driven me fucking insane. I'm so angry anytime I hear about many things.
Yeah, it's hard to listen to Joe Rogan anymore. It's hard to listen to H3. Even
and I just cannot stand Joe Rogan. He's making me, like, hate him more and more just as time goes on.
Yeah, he's had some opinions I'm not a big fan of lately, but I like him. He's all right. It really depends on the guest he's with, because if you catch him with the wrong guest, he'll placate people with really bad ideas just to see where they go with it.
That clip with him and Bill Burr where they're talking about the fucking mask situation and all that was kind of like the point where I'm like, oh,
he was just trying to piss off Bill Burr.
Yeah, that was the thing where I was just like, man, and what the fuck, man? He's looking like shit.
Joe?
Yeah, he's looking like really old and just like bloated in that one for sure.
He's 54 and he just got off the carnivore diet.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's just like sitting there smoking a cigar and just looking like, oh my god. Like he's still like buff and shit, but he just like almost looked sick.
He's
like,
stressed.
I don't know.
He's pro mask 100%. He wears a mask. His family wears masks in public, but he was trying to piss off Bill Burr, and he had some podcasts before that annoyed the shit out of me. Kind of with Brendan Schwab. Then they were both like, they're pissed at how restricted being in LA is, and they're worried about people getting back to the economy and getting their jobs. And Brendan Schwab was straight up like, nah, people are overreacting. And so he went back on tour with Brian Callen and did meet and greets with no mask and then caught COVID.
As they should.
Yeah, and now he's back on King and the Sting, which is a podcast I love, with Theo Vaughn. And then one of the people in the office caught it, and he's just like, no one's saying I gave it to him. And he's just weirdly defensive, and it's just like, you know you put everybody at risk going on a comedy tour and shaking people's hands and not being safe because you thought you would kick it. And you did kick it really quick, but the risk to your family, stop doing it.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
But now he stopped since apparently he had a reality check. He's not going back on tour. He's stopping, but yeah, that shit pisses me off. But I don't want to live in that again. Just I don't know. The only people I ever see are John and occasionally Keegan.
I saw Licklider for the first time like last week. Every once in a while, like I got to do my laundry, and so I end up going over to like my mom's house and standing outside and or far away. Like,
are you serious?
What do you mean?
Like you stay outside and wait for your laundry to be done?
I mean, not the whole time, but like if we're like sitting there talking or something, I want to be outside and like far enough away. Like I'm standing far away from everybody, like inside and wearing a mask, and then outside I will back up a little. Like it'll be better, you know. I prefer to be outside if I'm near anybody.
Right.
You know?
No, I'm not, dude. I'm not going. No one's going that far inside of their homes most of the time. I don't know what your mom and Mike's work situation is. I know that you're around enough people. I'm never around anybody.
Luckily, my mom and Mike are not working and or working at home. But, you know, my brother Michael lives there with his girlfriend and all that. And he, you know, works closely with people. He's a plumber. So, you know, doing all that shit. So it's just a situation of like, and plus my mom doesn't like, she's not taking it completely seriously because she's a fucking dumbass conspiracy theorist now.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. She's taking it like, she's not completely written it off or any of that stuff. So like whenever they go out, they're a little better about it because my aunt also lives with them and she only has one lung. So
yeah, she would
it's kind of important. Yeah. So, you know, but at the same time, I'm just being careful because, if I'm asymptomatic, I don't want to give it to anybody.
My mom and stepdad are still gambling because that's their profession. They do all that stuff and they're very careful, but my dad's been furloughed since March and my stepmom is retired, but they don't take anything seriously, so... And I know that my in-laws have had COVID. They've had a couple of positive tests turn up, and I just know that, like, the general Republican side of my family's not taking it seriously, but I was going to go out there today if I had the money, but I need to get an oil change real bad if I'm going to take a highway trip, and I don't have enough money to, like, fill the tank up if I run out of gas.
Yeah.
I'll postpone. But I need to go see my family, man. It's almost September. I haven't seen them since March, so I'm going to get one family trip in for each parent, hopefully. And, just roll the dice on it. I mean, no one can really give me shit for it, because I'm not trying to compare myself to the people around me, but, like, John and Audrey flippantly go places when they feel like it. And John, I think, was doing a Jeep trail with a veteran today, like, just because he's getting into Jeep shit. And it's like, the ability... Other people are dragging strangers around. I'm trying not to go around anybody that I don't have to, but...
Yeah, that's my deal. Because like I said, I would love to be able to fucking go over, play some games, fucking chill out, because it legitimately, like... I see people at work, I guess, but most of the time, I'm just here. My weekends are spent editing and cleaning and drumming and just not a lot else. Like, I don't fucking go anywhere. I don't do anything. Like, this is nuts. I finally just reached a point where I was like, we're going to be fucking outside. I can wear a mask. Let's go play Pokemon Go, because fuck this. Went down to Bricktown. There was people there wearing masks, which was great. A lot of them weren't, but like a good chunk were, so that was
You're pretty
kind of
safe
surprising.
outside.
Yeah, and that was kind of my thought process. We're outside, we're far enough away from people, like, it's not a big deal, but, no risk is better than any, but it just got to a point where I'm like, dude, this isn't going away. Just gotta fucking do something. I'm still going to be really careful. Like I said, I'm not going over to John's or anything. I'm not going to sit in a garage with a bunch of people.
There's almost never a bunch of people. Like, they've had
more people there than there are here.
That's true. Yeah.
I guarantee there's at least 3 people.
Yeah, Nate, John, and Audrey are usually there.
Yep, and I wasn't even counting Nate. I was thinking about you, so that's 4. And that's just too many, especially with Audrey working with a fucking swarm of children. Like, it sounds like a bad time.
Classes are, I think, going to be less than 10. I don't know. The whole point of us doing all this shit was to make sure that Audrey didn't get it. Like, I've got other people in my life I'm looking after too, but I don't know. I wasn't super pleased with their performance throughout the event, inviting strangers over to have, casual sex and shit and all that type of stuff. Yeah. And just going places just because they were bored, or just going and seeing family even when I was like, we're fucking quarantined. I'm not seeing my parents. Are you fucking crazy? We should not be having contact with people. Can't just, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to go see a friend. That's the same. You're not quarantined. You're just...
Exactly.
Yeah, you're just not going to... The only difference is that you're not sending Audrey to Walmart anymore, which Audrey didn't go to Walmart anyway. She was always the whole, like, make John do it type of bitch.
Yeah. I miss Walmart. I always preferred to go to Walmart just because, like, number one, better prices than what I'm dealing with at Crest. And number two, I could go look at other shit besides food.
Yeah, you just walk through the fitness section. Just cuz.
Yeah. I always liked going to the fucking toy section, looking at games and shit, looking at movies, looking at all that shit, just cuz I fucking could. And now it's like, there's no toy section at Crest, there's no movie section at Crest, nothing.
Yeah, browsing movies is actually pretty fun. The $5 bins, you might catch a gem in there.
Hell yeah. That's not a thing at Crest. At Crest, you can't even get fly repellent.
Well, just take your trash out more often.
I take my trash out all the time. Like, it's insane, because, like, my fucking apartment, perfectly clean, the trash is not in, because, like, what else do I have to do? I just clean. And there was, like, an insane amount of flies. I had to get those fucking fly ribbon strips to hang from the fucking ceiling. And they're just, like, black. I'm like, is there a dead body in the apartment underneath me? This is insane. My fucking sliding doors are just filled with flies. I vacuumed them the fuck up and threw them away. I have a garbage bag taped over my kitchen window because I think that's the only way they could really get in. Like, because the screen has, like, a tiny hole in it. Like, it doesn't make any sense that they could get in at all. But they have. They've been gone for a couple weeks now. Like, I've got the fly ribbons down and everything. But that was crazy, like, couple weeks where they were just fucking everywhere. To a point where I had to, like, spend half an hour just fucking swatting flies. And I had, like, 40 of them on the fucking floor afterwards. It was nuts.
Well, damn.
Like, it was like a fucking plague of flies, and I don't know why.
But it's probably one of your neighbors fucking up.
I mean, it had to be, because legitimately my fucking apartment's been so clean.
Enough
like,
humidity,
they even came
clipped
in.
grass.
Maybe. I mean, I'm on the 3rd floor. It's dumb. I don't know. Maybe they finally sprayed, because I put in a maintenance request for that.
Oh yeah, I could do it.
But yeah, so they're gone now. Like, there's some dead flies in my screen door now that I need to clean up. Just residual shit, but
They
that was
bugging you?
crazy.
Because those will disintegrate eventually. You could just leave those alone.
Well, it's just gross looking down there and seeing them.
That's true.
Much worse when they were flying around, landing on everything.
So what do we got on the list now, son?
I mean, I don't so much have a list, but I can think of stuff. Fucking Corey Taylor finally put something out that I hate.
Stone Sour?
Nope. He's made a solo record. And I haven't listened to the whole thing because I don't think it's out yet. But the big song that he had is so fucking obnoxious. Oh my god.
Is it Bother?
No. Fucking Stone Sour from 2000. What are you talking about?
I'm just thinking of Corey Taylor things that suck.
No. It's called CMFT or something along those lines. Corey motherfucking Taylor. And it's really obnoxious. It's like the most... Number one, it's like a weird... It's like dad rock-esque music, but then like rap rock. He's got like fucking Tech 9 and Kid Bookie on the track. And that's fucking weird. Like, I don't have a big issue with, rap rock, but this does not match. The mixing is so fucking awful. It's like the guitars are louder than the vocals. And I'm like, why would you do this? And the guitars are not impressive at all. It's fucking garbage. And the chorus is like the same thing repeated over and over again. But it's like twice too long. It's too fucking long. The song should be like 2 minutes shorter, and the fucking guitars need to be turned down, and the vocals, it needs to be mixed more like a fucking rap track, because like you got some really impressive rap going in there, but you can't fucking hear it over the shit guitar.
Sounds like a Slipknot record.
No.
Fight me.
I disagree completely. Pretty much all of Slipknot's records have been great.
Okay.
And the mixing makes sense because it's fucking metal, and the guitars, like, while they're not doing a whole lot, they're fucking carrying the groove and everything. But this one is like counterintuitive in every fucking way. Like, musically, it sounds like it's almost along the lines of like A Theory of a Dead Man mixed with like Stone Sour a little bit, which is obnoxious because that's kind of a step away from goddamn Nickelback. And then there's fucking rap over the top of it. Like, he's rapping shit, and then the lyrics for the chorus are such trash
I bet
Like-
if I turn on my radio, it's on the cat right now.
Probably. It's fucking. It's so bad. Like, this song could be passable if it was mixed better and they fucking cut the choruses in half. Because by the time you get halfway through this song, it's just like, this is annoying.
There was a guy with one arm playing Duality on Drumeo, which I recommended to you once, and I commented,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Earl Grey.
Earl Grey? Like
Earl-
the tea?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because Paul Gray's dead, and I wanted
That's
to
what I
shit
thought
on
the
it.
joke was, but I'm like, what? Earl Grey?
Fucking hate Slipknot fans.
There are a lot of fans that I hate, and Slipknot fans are not them. I fit in with those people.
All right.
I agree with most of them.
Well, I had a bad experience once.
That's fair. There's shit in every kind of fandom.
What's the new track called? Or are you just railing on the track?
Fuck.
Oh, that's
What is
not
it
in your
called?
notes.
Like I said, I don't have notes.
What the fuck? Show up to work, Zach.
It's CMFT Must Be Stopped, featuring Tech Nine and Kid Bookie.
Sounds like they should be stopped. Tech Nine is
Possibly.
exactly what I expect to hear on the rap. He's got the dumbest crossovers.
I think he has interesting crossovers, but like I like Tech Nine. I think he's really good, technically, as a rapper and shit. And you know,
Yeah, technically he's 9 out
got
of
some
10.
good. There you go. Eminem is
What the
10.
fuck is
But yeah, like that's literally the first thing that Corey Taylor has done where I'm just like, dude, I'm fucking out.
Well,
And
Yes,
he's
you've done your
written
mom
5 fucking books, and I'm just like, I'm so out of this fucking solo thing. Because anytime someone does a fucking solo thing, like with very few exceptions, it's just their band, but worse or stripped down versions of it. Like,
maybe.
ugh.
Jeff Rosenstock went solo. They did pretty well. And it was kind of like, oh, this has BTMI vibes, but, you know.
I mean,
it's
I
Jeff.
feel the same way about, like, Ben Folds. Ben Folds is fucking great.
Well, Jeff
These-
was such a heavy part of the writing that it's just like, Jeff leaves, it's just like, it's still Jeff.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people out there that are like, I'm going solo. And it's like, cool, you made a less good version of what it was before.
Yeah, like when, yeah, I agree. Because I forgot the name I was looking for. I forgot Van Halen's real singer, not Sammy Hagar, the good one.
David Lee Roth?
Yeah, David Lee Roth solo records. He found out he wasn't Van Halen on his own.
Yep. Like, Rob Zombie was good for a bit there, but then, you know, eventually became the lesser version of, you know, White Zombie.
That's a hot take.
I don't think it is. If anybody's heard his last, I don't know, 4 records, I don't think it is.
No, nobody's still listening to Rob Zombie's new records.
Exactly. Oof.
Never mind, I guess you have a point. But who's listening to the new White Zombie record? What's the last
There
White
isn't
Zombie-
one.
Exactly.
There isn't one. That's the problem. But no, that's what I'm saying. It normally happens whenever people are like, okay, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to go solo. You know, it ends up in a fight. You know, fucking Shimon Moore from Sick Puppies. Like, he got kicked out and his new shit's garbage. His solo shit's garbage.
I would like to listen to a Sick Puppies record again.
Man,
I've
their
heard
first
Sick Puppies
few
in
were
a fucking
so
while.
fucking good.
Yeah, I haven't heard them in a fucking while.
Yeah.
I like Sick Puppies.
Me too. Their newest album with the new singer and stuff, like there's a couple good songs on it, but like overall it just feels way more generic.
Yeah, I thought that,
Because the guitar work is just nowhere near as good.
I thought that 3 Days Grace was so much worse with the new singer, and then I went back and listened to old 3 Days Grace, and it was like, jeez.
I was just talking to a
good
dude
time.
at work about this. Like, 3 Days Grace is not good.
They were never that good. They were never. You gotta go back and you're like, oh yeah, Animal. Sure. But no,
Yeah.
they were not a very good band.
Like, I'll go back and listen to their first record every once in a while because it was still like one of those things where they, like, it was a similar sound at the time, but it still kind of stood on its own. But then their second album, the one with fucking Animal I've Become or whatever, that one, like, you just realize that they're a real one-trick pony, and their shit's really generic and says absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
it's just a thing that teenagers can listen to and feel a little edgy.
It was Keegan's favorite band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to him about that band sucking.
I saw them back in 2011. They opened for some reason, they were opening for Bullet for My Valentine and Avenged Sevenfold. And they actually put on a good show, but that was still whenever it was Adam Gontier, so I don't know about their new singer.
There was some meme that lumped Bullet for My Valentine and 3 Days Grace and another band into the normie music category for mid-2000s kids. I don't understand what the meme was. It was some kind of chart you were supposed to pick a number of shit from. What type of teenager were you? MySpace, and then emo, and then I don't know. It was confusing. But A7X in that group, I guess I kind of see it. But their music, I like their records. I've never listened to a whole 3 Days Grace record. What the fuck? Who could?
I had their first two, and then beyond that was like, once again, it was another one that just started getting too poppy for me. And that's coming from a place where they're pretty fucking poppy initially.
Yeah, they're the filler. They're the radio filler.
Yeah. Sad. Sad the time I wasted on certain bands.
Yeah, but we've almost forgotten about them now, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm off radio completely at this point, and like even some bands that I still liked their last few albums, like I haven't gone back and listened. Like even Seether, like I really like all of Seether's music pretty much, but I haven't heard like their last. I know one of their last albums at least I haven't heard. Like,
how are you supposed to figure out when the Seether record is coming out?
I guess you subscribe to them on YouTube or something. I don't know. I heard that they had a new one out, and like I looked at it and added it to a playlist, and then just still haven't listened to it. I don't even know if they have another one out by now.
Yeah, they could, and they most likely do. They're not. They don't take that many breaks.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, I wish there were more, like I could find more YouTube shit that would like recommend bands, or more like lists of bands that are good at a certain time or something that I can just go investigate.
Well, the Needle Drop is definitely a good place for that. The only problem is that sometimes they'll hand you music that you're not looking for just because like he's reviewing everything, but
yeah.
Or
Loudwire was a good one for a minute because they would do like a list, and it would be like they'd have like clips of certain songs or whatever, and I'd be like, oh, that sounds interesting, and
their
I'd go
website
find
is
it.
such trash now.
They really went downhill.
I know when, well, actually I didn't, because Jeff Rosenstock for the last 2 or 3 albums has just not done any press release whatsoever. So, the Jeff Rosenstock group that I belong to was like, what thoughts on the new album, and it was still like 2 weeks after the album came out I even knew it was there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not, I mean, really the only way to figure this shit out is to like follow them on Twitter or something if you're like really that invested.
Twitter fucking sucks.
I agree. Like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not following anybody on Twitter. I don't really get on Twitter, especially now.
Yeah, I don't follow too many people on Instagram either. I don't follow anybody on Facebook. I'm only on Facebook for the groups.
I follow people on Instagram. I don't follow any musicians on Instagram, I guess. I follow mostly artists and like cosplayers, I guess.
I follow musicians that I want to see go live and catch their show if I can. Like Jeff Rosenstock.
And that's what I do on YouTube. Like, I think God, I don't even know. Musicians that I'm subscribed to on YouTube is like Psycho Stick,
Very good one.
Slipknot, Trivium, and I think that's it.
I use Facebook for absurd groups, which I'm done with the ant colony because it's just people posting in all caps and nobody's obeying the rules anymore, so they're just making jokes. It's just a worthless asshole place to be. And then the office group has become full of normies as well. I've been finding more specific Facebook groups to be a part of. I went into one that's kind of got a feminist lean, but it's still really funny. It's called And She Breasted Boobily Towards the Stairs and Titted Downward. And it
What
just
the fuck?
it's based off of a post that was how men it was asking a woman to write action for a woman the way men see women, something like that. No, that's not right. It's a commentary about how men write women.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so the whole text I can't read because I don't have my earbud anymore, but yeah, this woman's getting out of bed and she's going downstairs, and how they handle that scene is she breasted boobily towards the stairs and titted downward. But under that premise, they find all sorts of great posts to make about really bad writing, or finding really great sex novels with terrible writing in it, or just great writing premises and making funny jokes. It's
All right.
It's a fairly left book type of group, but the premise was so specific it led to weirdly great content.
Yeah, like the explanation of it initially kind of bugs me, but like actually getting into it, like, all right, with it being more of like a obvious like joke, I'm into it. If it was a more like sincere thought process, I think I would just be annoyed by it.
Yeah. No, I mean there were a couple. I mean, there's been some funny videos about like women writing men from a male gaze, which are really funny, but you only need to see like one of those.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting exercise.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be as interesting as like men trying to write from a woman's perspective. I feel like you'd have to like dig in a little deeper.
Yeah, I had it backwards.
Because like I don't know where the direction would be with that.
No, I had it backwards. It's definitely taking things from the male gaze or from an ignorant gaze, and then covering sexuality or a woman's perspective is kind of what the group is doing.
Yeah, that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, but the first thing I said was a man doing a woman writing as a man, whatever the inception nonsense I said was.
Oh, I didn't understand it that way. I understood it as women writing from a men's perspective.
Yes,
in a joking way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can dig that. If it was like, yeah, I got you. I think it would be more difficult because what's the joke? What would our version of that be if we were trying to write from a woman's perspective? What's the joke there? Because obviously the one for men is sex, boobs, you know.
Yeah. We have a whole lot of great male cliches that dismiss women, like pretty but doesn't know it, or will describe the man and his heroicness, and then they'll be like, and she picked up her purse, and just instant dismissal or shortchanging or lack of agency. All those great things that historically men have done to women in screenplays and novels.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see it flipped.
It's weird because like I don't know. I think that one's kind of difficult because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like I've listened to like some books, read some books by women and stuff, and by men, and it's kind of like I don't know if it's just like the books that I choose where it doesn't make a big difference.
It's not as pervasive as people like to think it is. Like it's definitely feminists have blown it out of proportion. In certain ways. I'm trying to think of another example. Oh yeah, like the Manic Pixie Dream Girl fiasco. Like it was a really useful term for something to watch out for, but then once all the blue hair loser people with nose gauges started making "I'm not a pixie dream girl" fucking videos and shit, and It just like it became a useless term, and like male gaze is a valuable term and a valuable concept, but then like the assumption that all men are writing women ignorantly or simply or not giving them franchise is not really true of at least good work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like it's more easily like noticed in things like film.
That's
Like
true.
you can tell ways that like women are shot versus how men are shot. You know, stuff like that because there's like a lot of like
Yeah, and then
insane examples. Like if you look at like how Wonder Woman was shot versus how she was shot in Justice League, like it's insane with a female director versus a male director.
yeah, Patty Jenkins is a boss.
Yeah. Yes. And that movie looked way better than most of the fucking DCEU garbage.
And we got stuff like the Bechdel test if we wanted to be more cautious about stuff.
Yeah, which I've tried to add that into my process of writing female characters, but I find it's really restrictive. it's so restrictive depending on like what story you're trying to write. Like if you're writing like a fucking romance or something, you legitimately cannot do the fucking Bechdel test is garbage. You can't use it.
Hey, you know who has a really great episode on the Bechdel test?
Is it script notes?
It is.
Hell yeah. That's another one where like I've heard a lot of people talk about that because like I do listen to a lot of podcasts with writers and shit, and like I said, like Dungeons and Daddies is a fucking amazing example of it because it's legitimately 4-5 writers get together and they're basically telling this crazy story. Good stuff. But yeah, like there's a lot of people that talk, like there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch too that talk about writing stuff, and it's just legitimately they say the Bechdel test is like very difficult to use in most situations. Like,
Well, it was meant to be a mirror, like a brief, like you should be able to pass the Bechdel test in common scenarios, but like
yeah,
it's meant to be like using the Bechdel test on things that already exist, and then seeing how many things can't pass it. It's like shit.
yeah, but there's so many like specific examples that have to do with like a woman being there, and if she mentions a man or whatever,
Yeah,
like
and if they don't have scenes where they don't mention men, then they fail.
yeah, it's just weirdly restrictive. Like I think if you're like, it should be okay to talk about a man in a situation like if it's not like a pining over situation or a romantic situation or something like that. Like I don't understand. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's
passing
just a
the
weird
Bechdel
rule.
test in like a rom-com would just mean that you would have to shoehorn in a scene about the girl's hobbies, which is fine, but like screenplays are meant to move the movie forward. If it was a
Exactly.
book, you could have a dumb detour, but I'm not gonna make a whole scene that's supposed to be some kind of other revelation, but they're not talking about the plot of the film.
Exactly.
yeah,
That's the whole fucking issue there. It doesn't make sense to add scenes that just don't matter. Like there's so many fucking movies out there where it's like, why is this scene here? It does nothing.
Yeah, you could do it in a book sometimes if it offers a laugh, maybe, or it makes you love something more. But
If it doesn't
can't do it in a
legitimately
movie.
feel like it's slowing everything to a halt, do it. Go for
Yeah,
it. Like
and movies happen in real time. You can't bend the page and come back to it.
exactly.
And I'll dog ear a page, motherfuckers. Leave those comments, bitch. We'll bend that book up. I'll bend that book in half.
Yeah, pretty much all my books are like that.
You're a
But,
monster.
you know, I do
was undercover.
audiobooks.
I was getting you to admit it. Use a bookmark, you fucking monster.
I actually all my Game of Thrones books don't have the dog ears because I did start using a bookmark.
I left the last book that I purchased in the car during a rain with the windows down.
Brilliant. I had a library book in my car that flooded. So that was fun.
It was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green.
Huh? I wonder if I should check out his stuff. It just seems a little too sad for me.
I mean, the Fault in Our Stars was designed specifically to make people in his YouTube audience cry, and I didn't read it. I read half of Paper Towns and thought that was a pretty decent little YA novel, and then I moved, and then I lost the book for a month, and then I never finished it. And then Turtles All the Way Down was becoming a really interesting story about somebody with OCD. And I liked it because I have OCD, and most people think OCD is more of a visual thing to show than something that an author would do.
Yeah.
But it was being cool. But yeah, then I don't know. I stopped reading because I'm lazy.
Yeah, probably not for me.
No, I don't. I like YA novels enough, but I don't need most of them to be set in high school. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't mind a simple story, but if it's, I don't know, whenever it's like directly pointed at teenagers, it's like,
Is this The Breakfast Club?
The Breakfast Club never really felt like a kid's movie to me, but I guess that's because, I grew up
teenagers.
after it.
Well, I mean, it was for 16-year-olds.
Yeah, probably. It's always felt like older to me, though, because it is an older movie, so the people that it was for are now ancient.
Sure.
I guess that's why I never really saw it that way.
Yeah, I prefer the teenagers in my YA novels to fight dragons and shit.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't really done any YA novels in a while. I did the Harry Potter books like some months ago.
We've talked about this.
That
Harry
counts.
Potter's a shitty character, and so is Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah, I'd never watched any of the Hunger Games movies, never read any of the books, so I will just agree
I watch
with
the
it.
movies. I don't read.
Yeah. I guess The Ables would technically be a young adult book, which those ones are fine, I guess.
I don't know who that is.
They are. There's two of them so far. There's a third one eventually. I don't know. It's a book about disabled superheroes, I guess. It was written by the narrator for CinemaSins. They're very interesting books, for sure. Like, it's very, like, it's not making fun of anybody or anything. It's just, like, the main character is blind, and he has telekinesis, so it's just him figuring out how to use his powers, even though he's blind and needs to be able to see them visually.
Yeah, like having super speed in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That would suck.
The super speed kid is actually autistic, like very autistic, and it's very interesting. They're pretty good. I don't like the huge time jump between the first two. That's kind of annoying, and the fact that a character dies between them. That's pretty obnoxious.
Well, Jesus. At least have a flashback.
Right? Maybe he'll do it in the third book.
Do you want to go over all of the fucking movies you've watched?
I will. Definitely. Not all of them, but
Oh, okay.
some of the books, because I have been reading some books, so that's a thing.
Jesus.
Or rather, listening to them, I suppose. Because I don't even... what was the last one I even talked about?
It was Neil Gaiman.
American Gods was the last one, right? Or Norse mythology.
Gods. Yeah, Norse mythology.
So I did 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Excellent book.
That is birthday?
No, that's when Kennedy was killed.
Oh, okay. Who the fuck knows that? What's it about?
Going back in time to stop Kennedy from being killed.
That's not gonna help anybody.
It really won't. This book is like 40 hours long.
That's not a metric. How many pages is it?
Close to 1,000.
Oh, okay.
It is a metric whenever you're talking audiobooks. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. It is actually like the thing is like, all right. So there's like this fucking wormhole thing that you step through, and you step into 1958 on the same day.
It's called a time machine.
It's a portal that's in a guy's fucking pantry.
Stargate.
There you go. It's more like Stargate. So basically, no matter what, whenever you return back to that place and go back through the portal, it'll be 2 minutes later than when you left. So the whole thing is, Kennedy dies in 1963. So this dude goes back to 1958 to try and stop, like, this, just different things from happening, essentially, to prove that it's possible to stop Kennedy, like the Kennedy assassination. And it's pretty crazy.
That goes
a lot of
right into the grandfather paradox.
Yeah, it's some insane shit. And like, it's super interesting though, because it's also like a weird sequel to It. Because like a big chunk of this book takes place in Derry, Maine, where the whole It thing happens. And it's between the time when they're kids and the time that they're adults. And so he like comes in contact with like some of the kids. It's fucking weird.
That sounds like Stephen King shit though.
Yeah, and it's really good. It's got like a really good ending and everything, and you know, it's brutal like most of Stephen King shit is, where it's like, let's lean into like some terrible shit. Like, you know, it's the 50s, so obviously people are racist as shit. But this book was written in 2011, so it's really interesting to see how his perspective has changed on it with his characters. Like, it's really interesting.
You can get fucking canceled for being honest about the past. Nowadays.
I know. It's pretty obnoxious. But yeah, it's a good book. The funny thing was, like, when I was ordering it on Audible, like, they have, like, reviews and stuff, and it's the stupidest fucking reviews ever. Like, why are you getting political? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, this book is literally about the assassination of an American president and trying to stop it. Why would it not be political? You fucking idiots.
You can't read the comments, dog.
Oh, it was so funny. Oh, no, I wasn't like... No, like, I was ordering it no matter what, because I knew I started it. That was the library book that melted in my car from the water.
Sometimes I go in to look at some, just reviews. I see things that are just, oh god, just disappointing me. It took me a long time to figure out what the fuck the Rick and Morty group was like having so many people leave for.
Because they have a famously toxic fan base.
Oh no, Dan Harmon's getting canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the sketch everybody already knew about, the Dexter parody he put out in 2009, where he raped a baby doll. So now he's a baby rapist, and they're trying to get him canceled, which he came out and apologized for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's such annoying bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and the articles are saying Rick and Morty fans want it canceled. Rick and Morty fans do not want the show to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's other assholes. But no, that sounds... does he stop the Kennedy assassination?
Yes and no. So I will say spoilers. 3, 2, 1. All right. So he stops it, but it makes everything like way fucking worse, because the whole thing about this is, you know, if you're trying to change something, time is going to try and stop you from doing that. So it's like this whole thing where it's like the Kennedy assassination was responsible for like a whole bunch of stuff happening. Like there was like this is the theory. This isn't like absolute fact or anything, but you know, it had a lot to do with like Vietnam. It had a lot to do with like fucking Martin Luther King and Malcolm X being assassinated and all this stuff. That was the whole thought process behind going back and stopping it, to try and change some of these things from happening. But whenever he actually succeeds at it, it causes this huge fucking earthquake that just the world has like all these crazy fucking earthquakes and shit. Basically super apocalyptic, and everything has just gone to shit, and it's way worse.
That's kind of stupid, but that's also a premise from Doctor Who.
All right. Sounds about right. It's all about, you know, the butterfly effect and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, most of Stephen King's shit is, like, really fucking weird and dumb. But it just kind of fucking works. It's written so well, and you just get so invested in it. It really works.
He's a good storyteller.
Yeah, it's a good book. Like, basically, my Audible list at this point is just Stephen King and Neil Gaiman with a couple other things sprinkled in. I'm just trying to get through all their shit, essentially. Like, mostly. I'm not going to do all of Stephen King's shit. Like, found out recently I'm not a big fan of short stories. Because, like, my least favorite part of any book is whenever you first start and have to kind of, like, learn everything. Short stories are just that, over and over again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Especially because they're never very, like, fulfilling by the end. It's very rare that they are.
I could be reading books between calls. I don't know. I do miss reading, but how much a month is Audible? Like $30 a month?
Depends on what you want out of it. It's $15 a month. You get one book per month for $15, which, you know, is actually a fucking amazing deal compared to if you try to buy a fucking audiobook on like tape or CD or MP3 or any of that shit anywhere, it's like $40-something. It's insane. Yeah. Because I was, like, against the idea of doing the fucking subscription service for fucking Audible at first. But then I went looking for, like, different books and stuff on just MP3s or CDs or anything like that. And they're fucking crazy expensive. So
What's
Audible's
the unlimited
pretty good.
plan?
They don't really have an unlimited plan. They have
fuck?
one where you can do 2 a month. But you can buy other credits. Like, I spend $50 a month on Audible. That's where I'm at.
Well, yeah, if you're listening to books all day, that's kind of worth it.
Yeah, that's why I'm okay with doing it. Because it's fucking useful. Then I did Neil Gaiman's sequel to American Gods. Called...
Canadian Gods?
Yes, Canadian Gods. No, it's called Anansi Boys. And it's about... Yeah, I mentioned that it was a thing. But I actually read it. It's short. It's like 8 hours.
How many pages is that? Fuck.
Let's see. I'm going to make a guess and say probably like maybe 300-ish.
That makes sense. Because American Gods was like 4,000 pages in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was massive. But this one it's really fucking cool. This book was really interesting. It's about a dude. It's about the son of Mr. Nancy from American Gods, and you get some Mr. Nancy in there. And it's about, like, basically a bunch of African gods. So if you remember in American Gods where Mr. Nancy's talking about the story about taking Tiger's balls and shit, and then making the monkey sound like he stole them or whatever, and the tiger, you know, fucked up monkey or whatever.
I remember.
Yeah. There's like a bunch of stories like that because it's like this whole thing, and you get all the different animal gods in it and that kind of situation. And the whole thing, it's like predicated on Mr. Nancy dies. And so his son finds out that he's a god and everything. And his brother has all the god powers. Like, it's really interesting. He's like a spider god and shit, and it's really cool. It's basically about... It's a kind of a really small story. It has to do with, like, one character and him dealing with just a bunch of nonsense from his dad.
So, this is really more like DLC content?
No, because it's really its own, like, full story. It's just in that world.
Okay.
So it's like it's a spin-off, but, like, it doesn't really mention anything from American Gods. It's just, like, this character and his offspring and like touching on all the different gods of like the animals in African culture. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's DLC content with a new main character.
I guess it doesn't feel DLC though because we're not the same character.
It's a book.
Well, no, because it's not any of the main characters from the first. Like Mr. Nancy isn't even like a.
That's fair.
Yep. And then one more. I guess one more. Sandman by Neil Gaiman. They did this fucking amazing. Audible did this amazing thing.
That's got to have a great cast.
It has the best cast.
Everybody
Fucking
wants that to be a movie.
James McAvoy is Morpheus. Kat Dennings is Death. Taron Egerton is John Constantine. Like, it's got Andy Serkis plays a fucking crow. Like, it's got a fucking amazing cast, and it is so good.
Do you think he showed up to do his voiceover in a mocap suit?
Probably. Does he have any other suits?
Yeah, he's a diverse actor with a huge wardrobe.
I know. Jeez. It was a joke, Jeff. You joke ruiner. But yeah, it's so good. Like I've wanted to read fucking Sandman forever.
I thought
But
you had.
No, I never really got the chance because it's pretty expensive, and I've just like anytime I've thought of it, I'm fucking broke. But this came out, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like I did not expect it. Number one, to be so connected to the DC universe. Like I knew it was a DC book, but I did not expect to actually have fucking DC characters in it.
That's why I thought you had talked about it before. Mark Bernardin talked about it.
Fucking mind-blowing shit. Like Martian Manhunter's in it. Like John Constantine's in it, like a kind of a big part. Fucking Dr. Destiny's in it, and he's like a fucking. It gets dark, dude.
He's not a
Holy
real
shit.
doctor, though.
No. He's just a fucking psycho that makes a bunch of people torture each other, fuck each other, and then kill each other. And it's fucking really dark and really insane, and just like. But it's so good. Fucking Neil Gaiman's an amazing writer.
I agree.
Like that. Bah. One of my favorite authors. Like, that's why I'm going through all his stuff. Like, holy shit. Like, this is one of my favorite things, like, ever. And honestly, after listening to it, I'm like, I really don't want a movie. Like, there's so much to this, and it's so fucking good. A movie would be limiting. Because honestly, like, the story of this, like, none of the sections of it, because it's broken up into chapters, no chapter, and they're all, like, very different from each other. It's a continuing story, but it's, like, episodic. And none of them feel like a full story on their own. So it's kind of like, it would not make sense as a movie.
I would like to do a Neil Gaiman binge, mostly because I tried doing all the classic authors that I got for $1, and I really liked H.P. Lovecraft, but then I started on H.G. Wells, and I was just so fucking bored. So fucking bored. But I thought Sandman was a comic. That's correct, right?
Yeah. It's
Okay,
a
but then
comic.
Did they do a novelization of it?
I don't think so. This is like legitimately just like a crazy fucking production that they put on and everything.
Fucking good for them, dude. Because you could do a lot with audio.
Oh yeah, dude, it's so good. Like the music in this fucking thing is great. I'm just like, what? Listen to audiobook and it's like got fucking great music in it. Really sets the tone. Like all the actors are just amazing. Like I was surprised that Kat Dennings' death worked at all.
Well, you didn't have to look at her while she did it. So.
Yeah. But, like, you can still hear it. Like, I still picture her as the character, but she pulls it off really well.
Yeah, she's got a kind of a weird presence on screen. Like it's almost like you ironically believe she's doing stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of in on it.
It's weird because it's like you can see her acting, you know? It just feels like nothing is really sincere there. But in this, very good.
I'd like to check it out, but I don't have Audible.
Well, I can give you the audio files for it.
Shh! Don't tell the internet you're stealing.
I'm not stealing, I fucking bought it.
That's true. You essentially have a ROM.
I bought it and I recorded it because my MP3 player can't connect to the internet because of where I work. So I can't just listen to it on there.
That's fair.
You can't just download Audible.
How many hours is that?
8-ish?
I could do 8.
Yeah. It was very good. You mentioned Lovecraft. I'm currently doing a book called Lovecraft's Monsters, which Neil Gaiman is a part of. Which it's a series of short stories based off of, like, it's a bunch of different authors, and it's based off of Lovecraft's worlds and works and stuff. So, you know, we're dealing with a lot of Deep Ones content and, like, some Cthulhu and Shoggoths and stuff. And I've listened to a few of Lovecraft's, like, shorter stories and stuff. And I've come to the conclusion I don't really like Lovecraft stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like,
Okay.
I love the style of it. Like I love the creatures and shit like that. But I've come to the conclusion that the endings of all of them are fucking awful.
Now, I'll say that the last page of Cthulhu, I felt a genuine sense of dread, but I haven't made it through much other work. But it's kind of, I think he's generally regarded as only having like 4 or 5 like super standouts.
Yeah. My thing is, like, I love the idea of the monsters and shit and what they do explain. My problem is they don't explain. Like, when it gets to the end, you never know exactly what it is. It's leaving it to you to decide what the deal is. And I've noticed that with, like, the few Lovecraft things that I've actually listened to and stuff, it doesn't actually have an ending. It gets up to the point of, like, here's the climax and assume what happened.
I think that might be one of those spaces where it's not good to have an audiobook. Because, like, you're forced to hold the thing and really look at it and read it at your own pace and consume it at your own pace. And if you're just hearing all the words in order and not thinking about them, it's not like you're kind of right. Like, the Cthulhu tale doesn't really tell you a specific story that's driven by plot. It's not telling you a story. It's describing a phenomenon and forcing you to imagine it.
Yeah.
So it might have taken me 3 minutes to get through that last page, just being like, oh, that's a genuine, or like stopping to think about what Cyclopean architecture would be, or what the geometry he describes could look like, even though it's, you know, known to, like, it's described as impossible. But
yeah, that's kind of the
that's big concept stuff that you would want to stop and think about.
Yeah, I get it. Like, you're probably right, but just like it was crazy to me because, like, the Southern Reach trilogy, which is, like, the movie Annihilation is based off of the first book in that series, and it's very Lovecraftian in the way that it, like, crazy creatures and shit, but it has, like, the same kind of fucking ending where it's like, I don't really understand what the ending is, because it's like a lot of stuff saying essentially, like, you can't comprehend what it is. Like, that was Lovecraft's big thing, was like, it's horror so fucked up that, like, it makes you go insane and you can't comprehend what it is. And it's like, this feels kind of cop-out-ish because I want to know what's going to happen.
Well, Cthulhu's more like a tale about existential dread.
Yeah. Which I get that. He sets up like everything really well. But it all feels like a setup to me.
It is. It's more about the. It's not there. He's not. There's no beginning, middle, and I mean, there's a beginning, middle, and end to the professor's journey on Cthulhu, but it's not really about the end. It's about the writing itself. Which is pretentious as fuck to say, but you know, you can't have 21 short stories that are about nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of like there's a few of these stories that are actually like really fucking good. Like I'm not through the thing. I'm about halfway through it, and there's like 2 or 3 that stand out really well because it tells like a complete like full story, but there was one of them that I really liked until the end because it didn't feel like it ended. It was like talking about this lady who was going to sacrifice her fucking, like, it gets to a point where she's thinking about like the deep ones and shit so much that she's going to sacrifice her kid to it, and then it ends and it's like she's going to do that. Like, she's in the action of in a boat with her kid, and she's taking it off to sacrifice it, and she says she's gonna do it, and then it ends, and it's like, I want to know what that fucking looks like, you assholes. I want this explained.
It's not Stephen King. You don't have to watch a tentacle monster rip a baby apart.
No, I get that, but it just feels like, because it just ends abruptly.
Yeah.
I don't like the super abrupt endings where it's like, okay, I'm going to sit here and think about what happens, but I would have liked to hear what happened from the perspective of the author, you know? I don't know. Like I said, I love the setup. I like the fucking creatures and everything, and the idea of like the elder gods and all that stuff. That's super dope, but I just don't like the dangling off the edge at the end.
Well, I have to look out for that if I ever actually read all the Lovecraft books. Is there, cop-out endings if there's too many of them.
Yeah, because I was really interested in checking out some of his stuff, and it just didn't like it's well written, and it sets up the dread really well, but it just doesn't follow through for me.
Well, penises.
Yeah, kind of sucks, because I'm wanting to go back and do some more classic, like, horror stuff. Like, I have like fucking Dracula on my list and stuff, like older horror stuff, and I wanted to do some more Lovecraft, but it's like, oof, bro, I can't.
Well, there's not that much to listen to. I mean, he doesn't have that, like, in pages total across his career is not really that many.
Yeah. But it's the fact that I listened to like 3 different ones and they all kind of had that same abrupt ending. Like, really good setup, and then it just doesn't follow through.
Well, I'm definitely not going to listen to them. I'm going to just go ahead and read those.
Yeah, it's probably a better option. I could see it being better with, like, peripheral shit as well. Like, if there was, like, images of any kind of fucking extra content would be useful with it.
Yeah, I don't think he was a children's book type of guy. I don't think those books have pictures.
No, I understand that. But there are versions of these things that have,
There's definitely been a lot of artists that have tackled Cthulhu.
Yeah, because it's super interesting to think about and play with.
Yeah,
but,
and there's D&D books that have version 1 D&D expansions that have the gods of Cthulhu as characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like if you fight Cthulhu, he gets 30 attacks per round.
Oof.
And his hit points are something crazy.
Yeah. That was actually something I was thinking about adding to the D&D campaign that I'm working on. There's like, a totally different thing called Call of Cthulhu. And it has its own, like, different kind of... It's a role-playing game like Dungeons and Dragons and shit, but it has its own kind of rules with that. And different cool aspects that I thought about adding, and I still might add, that might be fun to play with.
Yeah.
Just certain little things like insanity and shit like that.
No, I don't want to do insanity. Fuck
yeah, I'm not thinking doing full insanity shit, but like, that was an example of the shit that they have. But luck rolls, I think, are really interesting. Like being able, because it's kind of like inspiration, shit that you can add to your roll. but you get a set amount early on, and then there are things called luck rolls, where, eventually the DM may ask, oh, you need to roll a luck roll for this, and if you've spent all your luck, shit happens.
That makes
There's
sense.
just cool shit like that.
I'm gonna see if I can find a PDF for the Gods of Cthulhu D&D book, because those stats were fun to look at.
Yeah.
But you got more books, bitch?
I have read a lot more, but they're part of a series that I don't want to talk about until I'm done.
You gonna start doing book reviews? Yeah.
I already kind of do them on
series.
Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, I see
Oh,
him.
yeah.
I see him. I see your gram.
Yeah, but I've been reading 2 separate book series that I want to finish before I really talk about them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then I guess I can talk about the movies I've watched, because there's been a lot since. I'll just mention the ones that I've watched and see if there's any worth talking about. I finally watched Her, and that movie's fucking great.
I feel like I've seen. Oh no, I haven't. The female robot and then the dude slowly falling in love with her. Yeah.
Yeah. That movie, I did not expect it to be as good as it was. And it's really interesting because it's kind of one that you can just... honestly, I could take that movie and just turn it into an MP3 and listen to it at work or whatever and just not really lose a lot. Visually, it's fucking great, but you can literally just listen to this movie and get everything you need out of it. So that's pretty cool.
Where'd you watch it at?
At my house.
I mean, did you find it on a platform or did you pirate it?
Oh no, dude, I'm renting stuff. And or buying it if I find it necessary. Fuck, is it on? Oh, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
I watched it on Netflix. So that was surprisingly good, and I was very surprised. It made me think about a lot of stuff, and I was like, wow, crazy. The world's crazy. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, I finally watched that.
That's a Emma Watson vehicle?
Yes. And Logan Lerman and Ezra Miller.
Ooh,
and
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, that guy that punches women in Iceland. No.
He got away quick with it.
Yeah, he's the Flash.
Yeah.
But for how much longer?
I don't know. I think cancel culture is going to get bored of itself. Well, he punched a woman.
Well, he didn't really punch her. He pushed her, but...
Oh, okay.
If you see the video...
It.
If you see the video of it, it looks so fucking weird because it doesn't look real at all.
Yeah, I did watch it, and that was the same thing I thought. I would just
I'm like, he's getting canceled for this? It kind of looks like they're joking around and she doesn't really look affected by it. I don't know. I wasn't there. But this movie I liked a lot. It took so long to get used to fucking Emma Watson's terrible American accent, though. Oh my god. It was, shockingly bad. Just like Daniel Radcliffe's, where they just, hang on to that R just way too long.
Well, that's one of the things that they're coached to do, is hit that R.
Yeah, but they hit that R R, like a fucking pirate every single time.
Ugh.
It's it took so long to get used to. So that was a problem. But this movie, I was expecting something a lot more, vapid and shallow than it was. It actually touches on some fucking dark subjects.
Did it actually play any Wallflowers music?
It's possible. It has a lot of, hipstery music in it. So probably.
I was talking about the band, the Wallflowers.
Sure.
Okay.
It's possible.
Alright. Just figured have it in there, just like slipping in Iron Man into Iron Man.
Well, of course, you have to.
Yeah, I'm pissed they didn't.
Yeah. I watched Stardust for the first time in 10 years. Which blew my mind that that's actually based off of a Neil Gaiman novel. I had no fucking idea.
I was aware of it.
Yeah, I found out. It's on my get later list on Audible to see how they compare. The CG in this movie is garbage. 2007 Matthew Vaughn movie. This holy shit. The effects are so bad.
I remember
Like-
my brothers being into that movie and me not getting it.
I liked it a lot when it first came out. This time I watched it, I'm like, I still like a lot of the ideas of it, but holy shit, this, like, Matthew Vaughn directing, it does not look like a Matthew Vaughn thing at all. Like, the quality of it's just fucking awful. They're standing on green screens, like, looking awful. Like, the feathering around the people on the green screen, it's like, holy shit. I can do better than this.
I can't hear anything but Vince Vaughn when you say Matthew Vaughn.
Well, that's weird. They're totally different people.
I know, but I keep seeing Vince Vaughn
All right.
in my mind's eye.
Well, then definitely. Vince Vaughn was the director of Kick-Ass and The Kingsman and X-Men First Class.
The Kingsman. That's one of the scripts that Script Notes put in that action episode. And the description for Elton John coming out and like dealing with the guards was Elton John is a revelation, biting and kicking and clawing and fighting dirty. Lady Gaga kicks a security guard in the balls and he picks her up and carries her off.
All right. That's
So
crazy.
funny.
That's great. I finally watched V for Vendetta for the first time ever.
I need to watch that when it's not on TV. I've watched it casually on TV, and by the time it got to the end, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I watched it for the first time ever. Number one, Natalie Portman's shitty British accent.
She's not British?
No,
No, I knew
She's
that.
American.
Yeah,
and
but
Israeli.
then she did Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, she didn't. That was Keira Knightley.
You're right.
And she is
It was
British.
Keira Knightley. Oh my god, I haven't made that mistake in 15 fucking years.
It's okay. They played the same character in Star Wars Episode 1.
They
so.
did, and that's when it began.
Yep. That
I
was
can't
like
wait for Natalie Portman to get Jack to play Thor.
me too. I'm
I
actually
don't think
really
I'm gonna
excited
stop
for that.
busting. If she gets super jacked, or she gets a six-pack, I'm just...
I mean, she's looked pretty good for a while.
Oh, Natalie Portman is so hot. But if she... I don't know. She just, like, starts looking like Natalie Portman MMA fighter. It's not gonna stop.
Yeah. But this movie, like, I've known about it for a long time. Didn't quite know what it was about. I knew it was about revolution type stuff. But fuck, this movie is so, like... It just... Alright. I love this movie. It is so fucking good. And I was so fucking angry watching it too. Just because it applies so fucking hard to how I feel right now.
I'm
About
having a problem
the world.
with that. Playing Infamous 2. Because you get these mutant powers and you're freeing Seattle from an occupying military state. They've captured all the superhumans and that they've taken Seattle, and it's the military looking for superhumans, and it's martial law in Seattle, and you're breaking up martial law, and it just feels so scary.
Yeah, it's just like, because I'm like, when I'm watching these movies, I am recording commentaries to eventually release. So it was so weird to sit here and just get so fucking mad at this movie and sit here and try to talk through it. Because it was just like, man, this is just the fucking world right now, isn't it?
Kinda.
Like, it was crazy to me.
Dr. Wily gives the robots robo-enza. There's no escape.
Yeah. But yeah, so that weirdly became one of my favorite movies. It took so long to get past fucking Natalie Portman's terrible accent, though. It was amazingly bad.
Man, I was just watching Lesson from the Screenplays video on Pirates of the Caribbean yesterday, and I was just thinking about how hot Natalie Portman was in that movie.
And it's not even her.
It's not. It's Keira Knightley. I know who I'm about to start Googling. Let's get off this.
Well, there you go. I watched Taxi Driver for the first time as well.
You talking about Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah?
No, that's just Taxi.
Oh, okay.
I've seen that like a billion times. No.
It's a classic. No, you've talked about you finally seeing Taxi.
I
But
talked
I'd
about
like to hear about it
Taxi
again.
Driver?
Yeah.
Alright. It's a bad movie.
Never mind, we'll skip it. Go fuck
No,
yourself.
it's not. It's so Martin Scorsese. This movie came out in '74, I believe, '76. So it's such a weird thing to watch a movie that old, especially when they're trying to do any kind of action, because it's so fucking bad.
Well, the cameras were very, very fucking big back then.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like fucking. It's such a weird movie to watch because like there wasn't like the language of film is so different back then compared to what we have now, where you can just kind of assume things because they're just doing everything like really like it makes me think of making a short film like back in the day.
Oh, they show
Like how-
people doing everything.
Kind of. But I mean, I'm referring to like our short films, like how it's done. It feels so like hobbled together, like different ideas that are kind of like put into place. It's such a, it's hard to explain, but it's such a weird fucking thing. All the takes are like the cuts are fucking really weird. There are lots of fucking weird little plot lines that don't really go anywhere. There's so much like just dangly bits and that just don't really amount to anything, and then the big climax just it's cut so badly, it's edited very badly, and you know somebody like some people get shot, fucking like there isn't really a process where like you see any kind of I don't. It's so hard to explain because it's like the Evil Dead movies. Like, someone gets shot and there's just blood everywhere. There isn't like a space in between that. Everything moves really cut up. It's like it wasn't shot at the right pace. There wasn't enough there to make it feel like the time made sense. It was like really choppy and fucking weird. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't have time dilation back then in the same way.
Yeah.
Well, now we'll just slow the motherfucker down, or have a CG sequence suddenly in there. But back then it was like the actions happened at the sequence that people did when they moved, and they might not cut away to another thing to pace it out. It's just like, here's the violence. If it only takes a second, it takes only a second.
Well, it wasn't even so much like that. It's like you see the person fire the gun, and then the next shot is of the person on the ground covered in blood. It's like there wasn't even like, you didn't see an impact or anything. It was just straight up, and they're already down on the ground, and there's blood everywhere, and it's like,
yeah, okay,
it's, yeah, and the blood just looks like shit. It's
low
so
budget.
bad.
No squids.
Yeah, there's none of that. Like, it's insane to see. But it was like, it felt like super rushed in that part. And it just kind of, it's a really fucking long movie for no reason.
Well, the characters are allowed to live back then. We're about to have a conversation that means something to them, and that's doesn't move the story anywhere, but maybe we like seeing it. Turns out we don't. Not 30 years later.
Well, there was like, between most scenes, there would just be like a weird, like, 30 seconds to a minute of just like driving and just like really weird, obnoxious jazz music where there's just nothing happening. It's like in between, like they wouldn't just cut from one scene to the next. They would have to do just a weird fucking driving scene montage thing where it's
framing.
like, do what?
It's framing. It's an editing choice.
I get it. It's just way longer than than it needs to be.
Okay, that could be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, because this movie is legitimately like over 2 hours long, and nothing happens in this movie. Like there's the point of the movie doesn't come in really till the last 20 minutes.
Well, as Martin Scorsese would say, that's real cinema.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree. It comes off as like a really pretentious film school type film that has really mixed messages of what it's trying to say, I guess. Because it's basically this dude is annoyed with the way the world is, but you're never really sure if he actually feels this way or if he's like quoting something, because he doesn't come off as very like the guy that thinks about this shit. And then at the end, he does some vigilante justice after they sit here and set up this guy might assassinate like the next governor or whatever. And then he never does. And then he stops something from happening at the end and then continues to be a taxi driver.
Yeah, it's not an amusement park.
I have no problem with dark shit, but it just went everywhere. At one point, he dates a girl, and he's so like, I don't know if he has Asperger's or something, but he takes her to a porn theater, and then doesn't understand that that was a bad idea, and then she leaves, and it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I mean, that movie's been talked a lot about the dysfunctional, mentally ill person falling into a violent lifestyle, and was allegedly the inspiration for Joker, not
Yeah.
the real Joker, because obviously the Joker, the character's way older than that movie, but like the new Joker
Well, yeah.
movie.
Yeah, which, there are you can see some similarities, but not as many as, like, King of Comedy Joker is just King of Comedy with some Batman shit thrown in. That's what it is.
King of Comedy.
It's another Martin Scorsese film, and it's about a dude who wants to be a comedian who basically sucks at it and then ends up, like, taking fucking hostages or whatever, and half the fucking movie is just inside his mind. He's just making shit up, and that character is played by Robert De Niro. Like, it's legitimately just that movie.
Is that movie good?
I would say it's much more focused than Taxi Driver is.
That's good.
So, yeah. Like, I like the few things of Martin Scorsese's that I've seen up until Taxi Driver. Like, it's not a bad movie, but it's just the point of, like, just how old the movie is. It's not quite to the point where, it's an old film. That's really all it is. It's not like a complaint of we just didn't have the film language perfected as much as we do now, to a point where it's like, keep the pace moving, set everything kind of, keep the stuff that's important.
That makes sense. It meanders. That's boring. Not all
I mean,
old movies does that. I mean, obviously, Doctor Strangelove goes at a good pace.
Yeah, it's not even so much as like it meanders, it just like sits in places where it doesn't need to. It feels like it could have been like multiple scripts that they just feel so disconnected.
I don't want to criticize the editing, because that lady who did it's a pretty famous editor.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's just the fact that
Although
we weren't there yet.
it was back in the time where we had mostly female editors.
That's true.
That could have been the problem.
No.
Let's get some sexism in here.
The problem was that it was the 70s and we didn't have this figured out yet completely. You could only
that's
do
an easy writer.
I don't know what that is.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It's the motorcycle movie with Dennis Hopper.
Okay. Now, do we go sexist or do we go the area of the All right. Since you mentioned sexism, I watched a movie called The Slumber Party Massacre.
That sounds like a good movie.
It's a fucking awful movie.
Never
It's
mind.
one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It does have so much nudity in it, though.
Oh, did they
my
press
god.
boobily towards the stairs?
Yes. But the thing that's fucked up about this movie is that it's directed by a woman, but it has like the strongest male stare in the world. All right. So this movie is legitimately. She's not. I'll explain it. But this movie, Slumber Party Massacre, came out in 1982. So it's another one that's older. And it also has the problem of the real shit action that's choppy and doesn't make sense. But it's just these girls have a slumber party and this guy is there to kill them. It's a fucking slasher film from the 80s. It's so bad. This dude's using like a fucking drill as a weapon, like a big fucking drill, but it's like the most like useless fucking thing in the world. I don't know. Point is, the movie opens up, girl immediately gets naked to change her clothes and everything, and it just like focuses like close-ups on those titties and shit. And then there's like a locker room scene where there's like fucking 10 naked chicks just taking showers and shit, and it just like the camera just moves up and down their body and just
And
like
the
stares
killer's
at
in
the
the
ass
wall?
and it's not even there.
I've seen this. Oh, never mind.
I think you're talking about Black Christmas.
No.
That's what that sounds like. But like, it's such a weird thing because the chick that directed it and everything wanted to make a horror film, and the guy who produced it, who's famous for doing like a bunch of horror stuff in the 70s and 80s and shit. I don't remember his name, but he was famous for the tits and ass and all this stuff. He's like, that's what people want. You got to have this much tits and ass in this movie, or I'm not going to pay for it or whatever. So she did.
Okay.
And she shot it fucking crazy hard. There's so much fucking nudity in this movie.
So this is exactly breasting boobily.
Exactly. 100%. Because it's a chick doing what she thought a dude would like. That's why it's hilarious.
I don't want to put this in the group then. I need to see
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah. But this movie is so fucking pointless and dumb. Like, slasher movies are kind of meant to be stupid and dumb, but there's a lot of them that actually have something to say. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But this movie is legitimately, it's people doing the most mundane shit ever. Like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to practice piano, or I'm going to sit here and make a sandwich and accidentally knock my drink off the counter. And then there's going to be some really bad suspense buildup. And guess what? The killer wasn't even there anyways. And then sometimes he'll kill people. And it's like, what the fuck is this movie? And it all amounts to goddamn nothing. He kills a bunch of bitches and then they kill him back. And that's it. It's like everything in this movie is just a setup for the kills, and there's no other story besides it. All the characters are fucking garbage. And then I found out because after I watched this, because I heard it recommended, or I heard it mentioned on the Dead Meat podcast, so I added it to my list. And how I pick these movies out is I just go to a random number generator, and it tells me basically what I'm going to watch. So this one came up, and then I realized that they had a video about it, and they talked about it and had like interview clips from the people that made it. And the whole thing, like, it's meant to be a fucking parody, which was kind of my question throughout, because there was a couple bits in there where it was like, this has to be a comedy. This cannot be serious. Like, this bitch is shoved in a fridge, her dead body shoved in a fridge, and then somebody goes to open the fridge and opens it without looking in and keeps like closing it and opening it before you just see the corpse kind of fall out a little bit and then go back in. Yeah.
How did you
but
know?
Because it was hard to tell, because there's a lot of stuff that's trying to be fucking serious.
It's
and
so expertly done.
The whole thing, that's one of the things that stands out as a joke. There's like one or two other things that kind of do, but mostly it just feels like a badly made movie. It was hard to tell that it was trying to be a parody.
Oh, okay, so the be comic relief.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. I think it could be an interesting watch, but it's a fucking bad movie.
I kind of want to see it, but I only
There
want
are
to see
three
it
of
so I can
them.
post it in my group. Oh no! Ow.
I don't know, but the other two are on my list, and I might watch them eventually, whenever the RNG tells me to.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna skip to 3 because if I know anything about franchises that suck, they really figure out what they want to say, but like towards the end.
Well, I heard that the second one gets like absolutely insane, so I'm kind of excited to watch that one. So I don't know. I don't know anything about it other than I've heard it's fucking insane.
I tell people to jump into Fast and Furious at 5.
Yeah, that's my recommendation as well.
Yeah,
And then
Mark
just
Bernardin
don't do
is trying
8.
to get Kevin Smith to do all of them and start a podcast about him finally watching all the Fast and Furious movies.
I would watch that and listen to it.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm gonna pee again.
Okay. We're gonna check the phone. Zach's peeing. I'm gonna look at my text messages. I got a text from Kagan. Oh God, the phone is bright. I'm in my room, laying in here with the lights off. r/Smash Bros. Paper will be here. Back with more Mag. Well, play the video. No, it's not letting me play the video I want to play. I kind of got to pee too, but I can't leave. I don't have a desk-mounted microphone. I've got a lavalier. To turn my lamp on so I can see, because it's dark. It's making me sleepy. Ah, it's bright. Huh?
I'm back.
What up, slut?
That was a crazy pee.
Did you pee twice?
Pretty much. I've been holding it for a while. Anyways, yeah, Kevin Smith watching the Fast and the Furious movies. I think I would love to watch that, but at the same time, he would probably like Hobbs and Shaw, and that would break my fucking heart.
Yeah, Mark Bernardin liked it, and I was just like, God, don't recommend. Because they were trying to sell him on it as being the first Avengers movie, which is kind of true.
I mean, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is the first Avengers movie.
There it is.
That's why I fucking loved his movies so much, just because of how they fucking connected. It's like, yo, Clerks is connected to Chasing Amy and Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and all that shit. And I'm like, dude, that is so freaking cool.
I remember when me, you, and Glenn were talking about scripts. Glenn particularly, and me, really wanted to have connected universes. At least just like small cameos and shit.
Yeah.
Like Stephen King movies all have some kind of little piece of the other movie in it. Those are more like Easter eggs, though.
That is true. Love that shit.
It's Universe, though. That's a straight up one universe.
It is. I love it. Ooh. I really didn't like the new Jay and Silent Bob movie, though.
I was there when you weren't super happy for it.
Yeah, but the more I've thought about it, the more I'm just like, dude, I fucking hate it.
I kind of want to watch it again.
I wasn't like, obviously I wasn't super fond of it, but as time has passed and I've thought about it, I'm like, fuck, that was so bad.
I am looking forward to Kilroy.
To what?
Kevin Smith's new horror movie, Kilroy.
Didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, it's Kilroy was here. Are you familiar with the 1930s meme Kilroy?
No.
So when the world was falling apart, there was somebody in multiple countries, or a group of unassociated people, where spray painting Kilroy was here, and there's a little cartoon guy. He's got a really long droopy nose, and it seems to be he's peering over a wall.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah. So Kevin Smith is doing another body horror thing, and there's some kind of crazy slasher thing. He's got a crazy elephant nose, and it's not Tusk.
See, I'm much more interested in that. But then again, at the same time, fucking Yoga Hosers happened, man. Didn't see it, but it feels like it has the same kind of energy as the new Jay and Silent Bob movie did.
I've been seeing articles that he's got an idea for Tusk 2, which I imagine is comicbook.com pulling bullshit out of his podcast again. I would see Tusk 2.
I have no idea what it would be. The fucking dude's dead.
Oh, same
And
thing,
Justin
different
Long is
characters.
I mean, yeah, but the dude's dead.
I don't know. Maybe it's the search for the cure.
Alright.
That's not possible. It was just surgery.
Yeah, I think I'm more interested in his weirder shit at this point. Because his, what's the fucking word? I don't know. The way he does shit now, it just doesn't tickle my fancy so much.
Yeah, I would rather him be on other shit, frankly, like story consultant nerd stuff, because I know there's supposed to be some kind of new Green Hornet animated project coming out of somewhere, and he's going to be somewhat involved. He's doing Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
As far as Smodcastle productions and shit, like, I'll watch them, but I'm not dying to see Kevin Smith put out bad movies.
Yeah.
I will always support, but I want them to be... I'm not expecting much out of the Smodcastle movies. They're fun and they're silly. And I think... I don't know. I'm worried about the next Mallrats movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he used to have something to say. Like, that was kind of the issue. And now it's literally just, I'm going to make some stuff that's goofy and put my kid in it. And I don't know. Like, I don't have anything against her, but it's the fact that he's leaning into this, like, cringy teen humor thing that does not fucking work for a 50-year-old man.
I just think Reboot was a bad premise. And I know he's wanting to focus Clerks on what it's like to be 50, or 40s going into 50s. And I'm kind of worried about shit like that happening. Kind of his out-of-touch perspective, in a way. But not much to say. But he aged and he had a heart attack, and who knows what could happen with Clerks 3. I heard it was really... He keeps saying it was a really, really, really dark script.
I mean, I'm super down for Clerks 3. Like, both of the Clerks movies are excellent. Especially the second one. I was hoping... I mean, yeah, but I was hoping that it would lean more into... just kind of how it's all basically doing the same thing again, but just, you know, more modern, I guess, at this point. But it was just kind of like a lot of like super inside jokes and then shit about how they're old, essentially, with like the younger characters. They like, and the shit where it was just like, and Kevin Smith is directing this movie, and then he played himself, and it was like, it was a lot of poking fun at Kevin Smith in general, and it's like, I don't mind like one or two of these in a movie where it's like, you know, if you know, then like you're like, oh yeah, that's a plus, but like this that was like a lot. There was so much of that. Yeah, like that's what that is. And, you know, they'll sit there and make jokes about himself and all that, but like he did it in a fucking movie, like for way too long. The good joke there would have been like people kept calling him Kevin James or whatever. Make Kevin James play Kevin Smith. That would have been the good joke there. But like there was just I don't know. There wasn't a lot to that was like it was literally just like a bunch of cameos. Like here's Chris Hemsworth, here's Chris Jericho, here's you know Ben Affleck, we're friends again. Because there's not a lot to that script. Oh yeah, I've seen that on his Instagram, and I'm like not interested. Because I mean, if you compare Jay and Silent Bob reboot to the original, like the story is there. I feel like there was way more story in the first one than there was in the second one. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like another thing where like the first one felt like they were like Jay and Silent Bob, like they were taking a few detours every once in a while, but they were still focused on we're going to Hollywood, we're gonna stop this movie from getting made. This one felt like, and now we've been distracted, and now why are we going to like? It turned into a thing where they were kind of more passive because the fucking teenagers wanted to go to Hollywood, and they were just kind of along for the ride. Yeah, and they didn't. I mean, yeah. Because, I don't know. I wonder how many, like, hardcore Kevin Smith fans really enjoyed that movie. Because at a point, like, he's got to know that his fans are older than teenagers. Like, who is he trying to, like, but even so, like, these jokes about, like, texting and shit, like, that's not, like, we're on the younger end of his audience. Yeah. I have low expectations that those are even going to be made. Because he's talked about Clerks 3 for a long time. Moose Jaws still hasn't happened. Now he's got another idea. And Mallrats 2 was supposed to be multiple different things, and I don't know what the deal is with that now. I don't know. I guess, but where's Ben Affleck at now? What's he done that's been good recently? Yeah, but what was his last like decent movie? That makes sense. What about it? He wasn't. He was in a bad film. That's true. And the good thing about the Snyder Cut is everything that would have been in that movie that people have said they dislike won't be in it anymore. Yeah. Pretty sure it's on HBO Max for like another couple days. Yeah, that doesn't matter though because they're cycling out their shit, so. Yep. Idiots. Wow, I'm on IMDb right now and Zack Snyder's Justice League is on here. Yeah. It's in post-production. I don't know. I think the last thing that he was in that people were okay with was The Accountant back in 2016. I also remember you reviewing that on our old podcast. Beyond that, he's tried to do some stuff, but you know, Live by Night, all everybody wanted to talk about was Batman and nobody fucking saw it. Well, like as far as a director goes, I think the last thing he actually like directed was Live by Night. It was his movie that came out where everybody just wanted to talk about Batman and nobody saw it. Yeah. Yep. Not a lot. He makes good movies, like at least the few that I've seen are fucking excellent, but yeah. Hasn't done anything good in a while. I don't feel like he wants to. I think if you've got a good idea, like, we don't have a good idea, but this is just a way for us to, like, hang out and talk about shit. I think if you have a really good fucking idea for a podcast, do it. We need more good podcasts out there. Yeah, there aren't that many. Yeah, see, that's where I'm at, because like I do listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of podcasts that are just like podcasts of YouTubers that I like, and like that's fun for a bit, but it gets to a point where it's like, all right, I want more substance than you guys just bullshit, and I want. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kind of like I need something fucking story driven or something um, where you can learn some shit, you know. Ooh, that sounds like something I would hate. Gotcha. Yeah, that sounds like all the stuff I would hate. Fucking. I mean, kind of, because you could tie that back to, oh, look at this, the system's fucking broken. Fuck this country, you know? Yeah. And then on top of that, it's true crime, and I'm just like, oh. I can't. The world's so bad. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just need some light shit for a while. You need to kind of just ignore all the awful shit for a minute. Yeah. Final movie I watched, the movie I watched last week was The Princess Bride. I saw it like 20 years ago. It's an interesting watch. No. What do you mean? Yeah, I was gonna mention like it's it's gotten to the point where like it finally reached a point where it was like kind of caught up with where we are modern wise. Like it has some stuff that's kind of like old school style and shit, and how it's filmed and everything is like really interesting. Um, and kind of hilarious. Like just the shit that you can see in it. Like it's so funny when they're fighting on the fucking cliffs of insanity, and you're watching. Just look at their feet, and it's like they're walking on like soft padding the whole time, and the fucking dirt's moving really funny. The rocks that they're bumping into are like super light, and you can tell. So that's hilarious. Love that. Um, but it's like its humor is so fucking quick witted. Like it's excellently written. I know. It's pretty crazy. Um, yeah. It was yeah, like really it was so weird. You watch them jump and it's like so obvious that they're on padding that's just covered in dirt. Like it's crazy. Um, but yeah, it was interesting to watch again because like I remember watching it at my babysitter's house when I was like 10. No, it wasn't. Um, yeah, it's good. It was kind of like fucking Princess Buttercup drove me nuts, and I think I hate her. She like smiled once in that movie. She was just having a bad time the whole movie, and like didn't even talk that much. No, I'm saying that she was a very boring character. Yes. And her dresses sucked. It was so funny doing the commentary for that because I found myself just talking about how much I hated her dresses. Such good commentary. Yeah. Yeah. Sad. She should be Princess Bubblegum. Well, Flame Princess is my favorite one, and she's the biggest bitch of all, so. I believe it. She's doing some sciencey shit. Crazy. She's like my third favorite girl on that show. Yep, which I like both of them better. Yeah, go be with Hot Dog Princess. She's way cooler. Or Cookie Princess. Really? Well, he gets over it though. That's true. Jake is great. I mean, so does Princess Bubblegum. Nope. Because she's gay. With Marceline. Yeah, right? It's not a very serialized show, I'm sorry. I also thought that you would have finished it by now because it's been months since we talked about it. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it. It got spoiled for me. I didn't really care that much. I don't know. It's true. We've been busy. We've been busy ignoring each other. Yeah. Been busy being losers. Well, okay. And I've beaten a lot of children. Good. No, that's not right. Only beating them. But yeah. I think that's all I have. Yeah, we've been doing this for about 5 hours. But I've only eaten once today. Well, then I guess this goes on forever. I don't know. It's all good. We don't need an outro. And not